us.
Why are we whispering?
They're watching us.
We're always watching.
Oh, God. What is going on, everyone? I am back. Thank you, Jackson. Also, props filling in last Sunday night on kind of a short notice for me. I appreciate that, as well as everyone in the chat on this later than usual season episode. We're still in the damn season. It's weird. No wonder this season feels so weird. We'd be done already by now.
We'll still be in the season next week too.
At this time. Exactly. But normally we'd have already been done. It'd be over with. So, or at least by tomorrow night. So now we get an extension. How is everyone doing tonight? Also, everyone in the chat, how are you all doing? Happy holidays again to everyone. It is 2025. I continue to mess up all of my paperwork because I keep writing 2024.
I've had that happen to me a few times where it's like I'm forgetting the year. I'm like, oh, last year I thought, 2023. Oh, right, 2024.
Yeah, it takes about 3 weeks, I think, to
at least
permanently get it in your brain to put the right year, because it's tough to break a habit when you do it every day, the same thing in repetition. So
I'm just happy I don't have to use paper and pen for basically anything anymore. So,
well, yeah, all mine's digital, but at the same time, when you're typing it in, you still just naturally put 2024 because it's just repetition, Anyways, Jackson, Sean, one by one, please introduce yourselves to the normal crew that we have here. I mean, these are the hardcore fans right now watching this show. It's the off season. No one's playing ball outside of a couple teams, and we still have people here watching.
Literally a couple.
Where can people find you and stalk you if they want to?
Well, of course. Well, they can stalk me online on Alabama with the Voice College Football Monday afternoons, 5 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, where Johnny Burtz and I host Crimson Tide Live. And they can also stalk me on Thursday nights on 10 p.m. Eastern Time, 9 p.m. Central Time, where Jeffrey at Only Talk Sports and myself take your calls on Alabama with the Voice College Football. And, of course, they can also find me on X at JacksonVOCFB and on Instagram and Threads at JacksonJohnson543908. And they can find me at JacksonJohnson979 on YouTube, where I'm 106 subs away from the magic number 500. And, of course, I will be having episode 59 of the Jacksonian coming up, where I will be talking with Mike Debate, the host of Locked On Patriots, discussing our take on Mike Vrabel becoming the Nets head coach for the New England Patriots. And will we see the Patriots be back in 2025 and beyond? And let me tell you something, you're not going to want to miss it. Sean,
that was a good grab by the Patriots, real quick. I do want to say that was a good grab. Mike Vrabel was not going to be out coaching for long, so go back to New England makes sense.
Yeah. Once they realized the Ohio State job wasn't going to be coming open,
once he said he didn't want it multiple times, also. I couldn't see Mike Vrabel coaching college, but then again, I didn't see Bill Belichick doing it either, and we'll see how that goes.
Oh, true.
It's like we'll see how that works out. But yeah, where's Sean?
I will say it's ridiculous that they basically threw Gerard Mayo out there as a sacrificial lamb for a season. You give him the worst roster in the league and they have a bad team.
Was it only a year, or was he there 2 years?
It was 1 year.
Only a year.
Single year. Yep.
Well, people are already trying to search you online, Sean. People are already Googling you, so just make it easy. Tell them where they can find you.
Well, Jackson can be my assistant here and drop the links.
He already did.
Let me know. Get my provocative and incendiary takes on the world of college football, current events, college wrestling, indie rock, among many other topics that I care to run my ridiculous mouth about. And just looking forward to January 20th. No, not for that thing that happens that day. I'm talking about the night event.
What a weird year this is that everything keeps landing on like the most random days and holidays. Like the
Yeah.
CFP
I mean,
was on election day, and this is on MLK Day.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah. Even the two terrorist attacks have to happen on the same day, right?
Jesus.
It's true.
So yeah,
it's true. It is true.
So yeah, watch. Monday, January 20th, is either the Ohio State Buckeyes or the Notre Dame Fighting Irish become the first team since the 1963 Texas Longhorns to win a national championship in a season that began with one president and ended with another.
Well, there's an interesting stat line that Jackson probably didn't even have lined up. Or that, or you stole it from him. That, or you stole it from him. I'm not sure.
No, Jackson dropped it in my ear.
I was about to say, like, Jackson even was like, "You son of a bitch! Don't duel me."
Oh man, but yeah, Ben, what adventures have you got going on this week?
Well, besides not being able to find my glasses, they've disappeared somewhere. So good luck, chat. I'm trying to read everything. Yeah, nothing much. I'm just Ben of Exploring Ben and Sam right here, and you can find me and Spaz on the Oregon channel also, where we will be doing season reviews as well as bringing in some off-season guests in to talk Ducks, and look forward to the 2025 season. We only got 3 months till spring, 2.5 months, 3 months till spring ball, and then about eight and a half till.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it's absolutely nuts. It's wild. Yeah. Ohio State and Notre Dame aren't going to have a whole lot of time to recover before spring ball.
Before spring ball, they're like, we're behind.
It'll be like 5 weeks off. Just take a vacation.
Where are the Michigan fans? Where are those Michigan fans? They're in the chat. They are in the chat.
Oh man, we'll be checking out.
They should be. They should be. The outlook for Michigan is good. Is good this next year, I think.
And Ben, I do want to say on behalf of the entire nation, the Voice of College Football, we're glad to see you back. We're very thankful you've recovered from your 34-0 fall.
How dare you? I know. I knew last week. I knew you were going to be like, Ben can't handle it. He doesn't want to face me. I'm like, we already did a post show for that. We already talked about it.
Yeah, but that 34-0 flu. It seems like it's just like it just devastated the Pacific Northwest last week. It was like an epidemic.
Oh yeah, we didn't.
It was in quarantine. I think.
We did not do the live post game that day, and I said it the next day when we did the recap show because I was like, before halftime, I may or may not have had a few too many beverages where I would not have been able to get through that post game because by halftime, yeah, I was over it.
Oh man,
I was over it. Well, so we got some games to talk about. Only a couple. But do we have any other news we want to talk about first? Maybe kind of lean into the conversation of college football.
Well, there's a place where we can find a little lot of land.
Oh yeah, we got to do business first. That's right. We got to do business first.
Yep. David Greenshield, you wanted a Gunsmoke reference, you got it. Just gave one, and it's the perfect segue because if you want to become a YouTube member for the Voice of College Football, you can become an all-conference member for $2.99 a month, where you will get a loyalty badge next to your name in the chat and in the comment section, and you will get a member shout-out, member-only post, custom emojis to use in the comments and the live chat, and for $4.99 a month, you can become an All-American member, where you will get access to VIP Hangout with Mark Rogers himself and priority reply to comments. For $19.99 a month, you can become a Hall of Fame member, and you could get discounted merchandise from the Voice of College Football. For $99.99 a month, you can get VIP access to all of the top expert pits. For Mark Rogers himself, Steve Merrill from Wager Talk, Steve Dace from the Steve Dace Show, Michigan Podcast, and Matt Zimick from the Big Ten Show and on Trojans Wire. But for $9.99 a month, you can become a Heisman member. And in return, you can give out content requests of any kind for the voice of college football. Give him out to Mark, and he will fulfill that request. He's not going to let rain or sleet nor snow put a stop to fulfilling that request. And you get an invite to being on College Football After Dark Sunday nights right here on the Voice of College Football, where you can cover college football and the latest news and notes. But we also got some wonderful stuff going out, of course. There is an amazing book that's out, and it's the top Valentine's Day gift for college football fans alike, because you can check out Disputed National Champions, College Football's Historical 1990s Reset, where you will learn about what happened in the 90s, how the decade changed the sport, why the championship results should be questioned, how to correctly think through the snares, and appreciate the accomplishments of teams that were not recognized as champions. This book provides an in-depth analysis of the changes, controversies, and outcomes that defined a decade of college football. It challenges readers to explore and critically evaluate the decisions that shaped the national championship landscape. Unlock the mysteries of college football's most debated decade. Grab your copy now, and you can tune in to the Voice of College Football X account, where you will see top-notch discussion, debate, analysis with no off-season. There you go. There's our guy, Mark Rogers, covering the Ohio State Notre Dame all-time matchups. There you go. After dark. Well, unfortunately, first Saturday of no football, but it is what it is. We're not going to make it depressing. We're going to make it the happiest off-season you will have witnessed. That we can personally guarantee. Right here at the Voice of College Football.
Unlike the chat the first 5 minutes while we were backstage. It was doom and gloom back there. It was. I went back and read some of it during that. Great work, Jackson. Always on the promos.
There we go.
So before we get to the games here, recapping, there were news, Sean. I know you're super excited about this one. You were super excited. The transfer portal giveth, and the transfer hole taketh away. And I'm confused by it. How do you go from a national championship caliber team, which Georgia is? Now, you did hurt yourself, obviously. I do think it was the best decision to go somewhere. But of all places, why do you go to a team that usually wrecks quarterbacks?
He just wants to make sure he can keep some of that poontang.
That is true. That was a huge element of it, I believe. For people that live under a rock, Carson Beck leaving Georgia to go to Miami, where his girlfriend is, apparently, a student and a cheerleader, I believe. But so I guess it makes sense. But also, he's injured. So, I mean, his draft prospect, after this year was not going to be that great.
And then,
not very good.
If you look like Carson Beck and you have a girlfriend that looks like his girlfriend, I would be like making extra effort to kind of all that as well.
Well, he's also going to make a lot more money now. I don't think with the injury, his draft, he probably wasn't even going to do a pro day or anything like that because of the injury. So his prospects were going to be low. He was gonna be a late, probably a fourth, fifth round, maybe.
Oh yeah, he was going to be pushed down. He did not have a great year. But it was interesting. It was announced that he had declared for the draft earlier, and rules are different now. So I guess if you don't sign with an agent or something right away, you can reverse that decision and stay in school. Much like it's been in the NBA for a while.
Yeah, that was a kind of the weird situation. He declared for the draft, basically. That's what I understood also. And then he's like, no, I'm going to transfer portal. And it was personally, I think it was the best decision because he's getting $4 or $5 mil from Miami, apparently, in NIL. Apparently. That's apparently the number.
I can't understand how he has eligibility left to go. That's one thing I don't quite get. I mean,
Does anyone understand what eligibility is even anymore? Does anyone even understand? Thank you, Fabia. Thank you.
Man, I'm looking forward to the Miami
I'm trying
Notre
to
Dame
figure out.
game.
I thought, yeah, he was in that 2020 class. So I guess maybe one of the years he didn't play in, he got just under enough game reps to not count.
That, or I guess he could still also technically have the grad transfer rule, so you can get that 5th year, technically.
Well, I mean,
so
his first year, his true freshman year, didn't count. So I guess he still had a red shirt available to him.
Probably.
This will probably basically all be done with after next year. All this fallout from that COVID season.
Well, but now you got the Pavia situation where you can get maybe 2 more years if you play JUCO for a couple of years. So I mean, you got to do it. Again, every year something changes. Where that's why I say I don't even keep track of this anymore. I can't. My head explodes. Like, just next year, it's going to be something different too. You know, where you're going to have a 7th year, 8th year guy. I mean, Miami had McCormick, a tight end from Oregon. He was on like his 8th year because he had like 3 medical years or whatever.
9 years.
9 years. Thank you. I was like,
he's going to be going to his 10-year reunion here this summer.
Well, he was there from the year that Kobe Bryant played his last year in the NBA to there being like the 3rd presidential election in 8 years. That's how long he was at Miami.
I forgot that they had him because he left Oregon. I forgot he was still playing until I'd watch a Miami game. They're like, there's McCormick. I'm like, holy shit, he's still there? Oh my good Lord. God. I mean, I love McCormick, nothing against it, but I'm like, yeah, the point is there's always exceptions to the rules, you know, like that's why you have like 32-year-old Aussie punters. And they're like,
there were 2 Mark Scorsese. There were 2
guys that play full careers and play full careers in the AFL down under.
There were 2 Mark Scorsese movies in the span of Cam McCormick's career. That's funny.
2?
There's a weird stat line.
Yeah, The Irishman from 2019 on Netflix, and Killers of the Flower Moon released by Paramount in 2023.
God.
That doesn't sound like a lot when you say it like that.
I know.
Like, how many Zack Snyder films have been out since then? Like 11, 12 since you started?
Probably a few. But I mean, yeah, I know like Ben Affleck was Batman at that time. And the Avengers kicked the living hell out of Thanos. Iron Man
fun fact, Marvel has released 194 comic book adaptations since Cam McCormick started playing.
Oh my God.
We will rank them all in one episode this offseason.
Oh man.
We should do a show just ranking like the greatest 8th, 9th, and 10th year starters.
Yeah, I don't think Cam Rise is coming back in 2025. That's just not happening.
I don't think so. The poor Cam Rising, man. He dealt with injuries so long. They put him out this year. He got injured again. They kept putting him back out there, and just nothing happened. I'll give Cam Rising credit. Obviously we used to go against Utah.
I think,
but still,
I don't even know if it's weird to say like someone in college football is shot, like their body's just done. When I watched Cam Rising play this year, that's what I thought.
Yeah, he's on that list of. I think it's just. I think he needs to just either try for the NFL or go into coaching. No,
don't. You're wasting your time with the NFL.
I'm saying maybe make some paychecks, be on the practice squad at least or something like that. I mean, make some money, but Otherwise, just go into coaching. I don't think your body can handle it anymore, apparently, because it's the same injury over and over, too. It's always his knees, you know. So, shout out Cam Rising. Yeah, that sucks. But I think if he comes back and plays next year, I'd be like, what the? Oh, I didn't slip. That doesn't count. I know someone in the chat is trying to count on my F-bombs tonight, and that doesn't count. Who actually went into coaching this this week? Someone from college football got out and they went into coaching. I'm trying to
Minnesota's defensive coordinator left for Miami for the same position.
That too.
Yeah, Buckeye is very likely to get a to get an edge rusher here from Georgia, Damon Wilson. Kind of an undersized guy, but former 5-star. On3 has them at a 99.9% chance to land Wilson. So
it's true. And hey, say Scott Aller, thank you for dropping by. Yes, we talk everything college football, not just the games. We're getting to the games. Relax. This is how we extend this show into like 3 hours of nonsense every Sunday. You have to have a lot of context and talk about different things. Yeah, the transfer portal this season right now is, I mean, where do you want to go? USC's lost half its roster. It feels like. I mean, it definitely feels like they've lost half their roster.
Wolf.
And then they're online talking smack about the Ducks. And I'm like, hey, when you start competing, then maybe you can, actually talk trash. So become relevant once again, USC. We're waiting. Okay, there's my shots at USC tonight.
Well, USC and Oregon are going to play each other the week before rivalry week in 2025, so it's going to be fun to see it.
Troy's right about this, but I feel like maybe we lead with too much nonsense. I don't know.
That is true. We do need to streamline the promotions a little bit. I think I do. The 5-minute promotions is a little bit much. It's not 5 minutes, but yeah, we can streamline some stuff. All right, let's get into it then. Fuck it. There it is. There's one. Chat don't count. Do not count. Let's start with because of the lead up.
Oh, doink! It's good, and the Commanders beat the Buccaneers as they advance to the divisional playoff.
Oh no, Buccaneers, no. I mean, I'm not. I don't pay attention to the NFL, but all I know is Bucky Irving had a great season for the Buccaneers.
Doink. Oh man! But on the bright side, the Buccaneers will be able to celebrate Mike Evans Day annually in the state of Florida.
Good win for the Commanders. Good win. Aren't they going back to the Redskins?
There's been some push, some movement.
I heard they were pursuing that. They were like, you know what, we're done with this. We're going to go back to it. And I was like, finally.
They didn't even get their FedEx Stadium. Like they didn't get like their new different FedEx. Like because they were like promised, like, hey, if we change the name, we will get a new stadium. Not a single new stadium has come since. It's like
that stadium is terrible.
I think you can sue somebody for that. Like if somebody makes a promise to you, they don't. Wait a minute. Yeah, I don't know. We're not lawyers, but we know some people that are.
Well, I'll tell you what. Whatever they name that stadium, they're going to have to fix that stadium because my Lord, yeah.
That thing is garbage.
When fans are complaining about literal feces being dropped on them because the pipes burst in the middle of the game, okay.
Haven't you seen that video where it's like literally like part of the roof collapses and like just douses water on the fans. Because,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
just
that's what
falling
I'm talking.
apart.
Yeah,
Dan
there's several.
Dan Snyder, right? That's his name, Dan Snyder. Isn't that the?
Yeah,
Oh, Dan
former
Snyder.
He
president,
was the Commanders owner. Was.
Yeah, he's out. He,
Yeah,
he
just
was
didn't
out for
He
being a
never fixed
pervert.
anything in that damn thing. And then the parking was horrible. Like you had to walk like miles to get to the damn thing. It was trash.
Okay, so
I'm
tonight,
going to share an unpopular take. The Commander's name has actually grown on me. I didn't like it at first, but I actually feel like it's kind of good. It adds like it's somehow geographically like specific. You know, you've got the Commander in Chief in there.
Yeah, in
It's
DC.
I'm okay with it now. And now they're probably going to change it back.
I think just like anything, when you're used to something and they change something dramatic like a name, it takes a little bit, but eventually you condition to it, you know. Because now I still think Redskins, but I'm used to hearing Commanders. I know who they're talking about now.
Yeah.
For the first year, I was like, who the hell are the Commanders? I was like, are we talking like soccer or what are we doing here?
at least it wasn't like Washington football team. Like, the hell is that?
Should have at least just called it Washington FT, like the European soccer clubs.
Oh man. But tonight was the first playoff win since the 2005 season and the second stint of the Joe Gibbs era.
I think Washington had the longest they had the longest playoff win drought in the league before tonight. I think so.
Yeah.
They would have been close with in RG3's rookie season, but of course he
blew
out a damn knee, you know, again in that
game.
Yeah,
his knee exploded and never recovered.
Yes, it did.
And the Lions had gone since '91 before last year.
Mm-hmm.
But
funny enough, the last time the Commanders had a playoff win in their franchise prior to tonight was against the Buccaneers. That's when John Gruden was coaching there.
John Gruden was coaching the Buccaneers. Yeah, it was when I think Joe Gibbs was coaching Washington at the time.
Yeah, that was Joe Gibbs' second year in his second stint.
Have you guys, thinking of John Gruden, have you guys seen his podcast that he does?
I've been watching a little bit of him on Barstool Sports.
Yeah, it's not bad. He's a little dry, but you know, obviously he knows what he's talking about, so it's full of good info. But he's a little dry, but he makes some funny comments here and there. Plus, it's John Gruden. I mean, why not? You know,
I was like surprised. Like I thought to myself the moment he got fired from the Raiders, I was like, once the PR washes off, where it's like, you know, oh well, it's a good thing he's fired. Nobody liked him anyway, and all that stuff. Like when it gets to like not a year, not 2 years, but when there's a slow news day. He's going to be working someplace.
Oh yeah,
I was thinking there's going to be like Outkick or something, but it's like Barstool Sports is pretty cool.
That makes sense. I mean, either one makes sense. Didn't he get he got a huge settlement from the Raiders, didn't he, for legal filing?
Oh yeah.
Then they pay him. I don't know. Is this still ongoing?
I never heard that he got any sort of compensation for that. That doesn't even happen. I know that he was pursuing it, but
I saw the courtroom stuff but that was a couple of years back, you know, or whatever. And it's like, I'm sure that they probably settled something out of court, like, you know, on the down low, so to say, just to like make it go away.
Yeah,
he probably made at least 5-10 million, probably, or something like that in damages and legal fees or some shit like that, you know, which is nothing for the Raiders in a sense. You know, as a franchise, so whatever. All right, let's talk some ball. Because you know, I don't want to piss off the Allen guy that was in here earlier complaining about stuff. So, you know, shout out him. Hey Cheryl, I see you in here. Cheryl's in the chat. Yeah, we got some Buckeyes. Of course, we have Buckeye fans in.
Obviously,
shocking that there would be Irish and. But let's just start with Thursday's matchup: Notre Dame versus Penn State. I don't remember the line exactly. I think Penn State was favored by like 2, 3.
It was very close. It was a very short one. I think it was. I think that last I saw it was Notre Dame minus 1.5.
It probably flipped.
DeReal said that the favorites that night were undefeated in the playoffs, but I could have sworn Georgia was a small favorite, was like a 1.5 favorite.
Yeah, most games were literally within like 1.5 to 2.5.
Okay, Penn State.
The first round games, those all have long lines, but I could have sworn that Georgia was favored.
Notre Dame. It said Notre Dame was the favorite.
Were they the favorite?
Okay. So the favorites have won every game in this playoff.
Oh man, I saw a little bit. Ben, I saw a little bit of you and Spaz live reacted to Georgia Notre Dame. That was funny.
Oh yeah, it's tough doing a live show while you're watching football because you're just one screen is literally watching the game. You're like, oh, try not to react to it. And no, Michael Smith, I will not start with the Oregon game. That game is dead to me.
Man.
The game is dead to me. Yeah, what do you think about this? Because everyone here we go. James Franklin, once again. I thought James Franklin and that staff called a pretty good game. Maybe that's just me. That was not on James Franklin.
That was on Drew Allar.
Well, I mean, it's on him in the sense that
he's the coach.
They don't have receivers that can really play at this level.
Isn't that the weirdest freaking stat line that you've ever seen? 0 receiving yards for a receiver for Penn State. That is the weirdest stat line I've ever seen in my life.
It's nutty. I mean,
they were only targeted
it's not that surprising. I mean, it's not that surprising because I didn't expect them to do much in this game at all. Notre Dame plays man coverage almost exclusively, and they're the best man coverage team in the country. So I mean, I didn't think Penn State receivers were going to be able to do much. They weren't. They certainly weren't.
But 0 receptions.
Yeah, that's nuts. And honestly, some of that has to be put on Aller too, because he was off all night. I mean, he was missing.
It was rough watching some of the 2 picks that got turned over by penalties.
What is this comment from Jason Hogan?
They were legit penalties, but I don't even think he realized they were penalties. He literally just threw that ball up. Like he just put it in danger, I mean, so it was bad. It was rough watching him.
So Penn State has never been able to attract high-level receivers, not like Chris Godwin or Allen Robinson or KJ Hamler, or Jahan Dotson, Deshaun Hamilton. Like these guys didn't exist. Wide receivers been. It's kind of weird. Until a couple years ago, that was traditionally kind of a position of strength for Penn State, but they've been awful at that spot for the last couple of years.
Yeah, and everything was going Penn State's way in the first half. It looked like complete domination by Penn State, and then Notre Dame's backup comes in and just all of a sudden torches them to get a field goal, and then it's all of a sudden the game, and then halftime adjustments. Marcus Freeman outcoached James Franklin. I mean, that's plain and simple for the most part, basically in the second half. I mean, I don't know how else.
Yeah, I mean, might be oversimplifying this. This game was it was super tight. It was super close, and Penn State had a busted coverage that gave Notre Dame a 70-yard touchdown pass in this game, and then getting aggressive at the end of the game, which I was in favor of. I thought that was a good idea to try to use the time they had, not just run out the clock, but Man, that brutal pick and basically gave away the game there.
Well, and I mean, think about during the game, the first half, I believe, and also in the third quarter. Excuse me, it might have been in just the second quarter. Drew LR misses the wide open running back in the flat. That was an easy walk-in touchdown. Throws it just a little off. Then they had the wheel route where running back, once again, wide open. That was like a 90-yard touchdown. No one was getting him. Didn't hit it. He missed two big throws that were easy 14-point swing.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not sitting here. I'm not going to be the what do you call it? The armchair quarterback guy. You know,
Monday morning.
Not easy. It's not easy, but that one touchdown that he missed on the flat for the running back, that was an easy throw. The guy was right there. Just throw it at him. Oh yeah, I'd do it. That's a touchdown. Easy for a quarterback. But shout out Marcus Freeman though. Marcus Freeman. I have doubted Notre Dame this whole year because I mean they literally have the worst loss of the season. They literally do. I mean, I'm going to rub this in their face. Will, I see you in the chat. You lost to NIU at home, but shout out to Marcus Freeman because he's done a great job coaching.
Fantastic,
great job.
I mean, I didn't know if Notre Dame had any sort of comeback like them in that when they were down 10-0 because, man, it was brutal watching them the first half offensively. I mean, they were
anemic.
They were not able to protect Riley Leonard. You know, had to get taken out of the game for a while. Couldn't run the ball much at all. But wonky game.
15 yards rushing or something in the first half. 15 yards.
For Notre Dame or no, definitely. Yeah. Penn State ran the ball pretty decently in the first half.
Yeah, Notre Dame was though in that first half. It was anemic. And
the interesting thing about Notre Dame is they've been a running team all year, and in the playoffs they haven't run the ball very well. If you take out the 98-yard Jeremiah Love touchdown run against Indiana, Notre Dame is averaging under 3 yards a carry this postseason.
Yeah,
and obviously they're not a dynamic passing team, but they've managed. I mean, just by hook or by crook, and obviously really, really good defense and special teams play.
Yeah,
gotten themselves into the playoffs.
I'll say Notre Dame has not been necessarily, especially in the postseason, not the flashiest team by any stretch. But guess what?
No, not at all.
Solid fundamentals, do not turn the ball over, and just good defense. And then take advantage of the opportunities you're given, which Penn State in this game didn't. Like we said, they missed easily 14 points they could have had.
Double team. Notre Dame left the double team on Jeremiah Smith.
They're unlikely.
We're going to see. We're going to talk about that because there was a funny photo from the Texas Ohio State game. But Drew Aller, I'm sorry, I don't know what he's doing. He's coming back, but it was funny on air. The announcer was like, he's going to make a decision after the game. What would it be a dick move if all of a sudden he went pro? Because I mean, in that game cost him a lot of money if he was to go pro, and they already lost their backup quarterback, so he would literally just like leave Penn State empty, at the quarterback position.
Oh yeah,
that would be a dick move after your backup left, after you said you're coming back, and then you leave.
Well, the thing is, has Pagula committed anywhere?
Who?
Yeah, who?
Well, Pagula.
Yeah,
the backup.
Missouri, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. I forgot. Yeah, I was going to say, maybe he can hold that until he knows for sure that Aller's coming back.
Yeah, we haven't heard anything, obviously. It'll probably take a few days, but that'd become a dick move. But Drew Aller lost a lot of money in this game. It was rough watching. I mean, I don't know what he was seeing or what he was looking at. Credit Notre Dame defense, but you do not throw that freaking ball. I don't disagree with the decision with 55 seconds or whatever
Yeah.
at the end of the game to try to go down the
Couple
field and
timeouts.
get a field goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Be aggressive. Just lay it out there. You don't throw that ball though. That was just a bad decision. It was terrible.
I thought it was a pretty obvious decision that you definitely take a shot and you try to go for it until I realized Penn State had 0 receptions for a receiver. So what was the likelihood of success in that situation?
That too. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
I'm all in for the aggressiveness though, of like, hey, screw it. Let's go win the game. But yeah, you got to assess the rest of that game and go, are we going to be able to do this?
Well,
there's
Drew Lahr is likely returning next year. So basically, I've got the Penn State schedule for next year on here. Let me see.
Oh God, no! We have to go play at Penn State next year.
Well,
not looking forward to that one.
Well, look. Hopefully, for your sake, Fox bails you out, makes that a big noon kickoff.
I don't know if that's good or bad though, because then people are gonna be like, "Well, the travel." It's like, shut up. Oregon didn't have any problems with travel.
Well, they did have that in that Wisconsin game, but that was a night game.
That was a night game and an 8th straight game. The only one in the country had 8 weeks straight. At least next year, no one got dirty. No one got done dirty like that. Next year, they fixed it where it's only like.
Well, you were. I mean, and that 8-game schedule was brutal. It was like home away, home away, home away. Like they were traveling across. They were routinely making 2,000-mile trips.
That non-conference schedule is pathetic. Like, my God. That is pathetic. That's one of the lamer ones I've seen. Oh my God!
How dare you not disrespect the Nevada Wolfpack? Don't make me go put my Nevada shirt on.
Well, I like Nevada, but I don't like Florida International.
Yeah, FIU. That's trashing. Again,
that school is hell. That is hell.
I still don't even understand how Villanova even has a football team.
How what? Yeah, Villanova.
That should be replaced with Pittsburgh. That should be replaced with Pittsburgh. It
should be at least replaced with Temple or something.
I don't give a rat. Oh, the University of Bill Cosby. Hey.
Oh, God.
Good. Oh man. But the conference schedule, the Oregon game. Who knows what network that'll be on? Iowa's pretty scary at home against top 25 teams.
Yeah, that's kind of So you back to back at Iowa and at Ohio State with a bye in between, but.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows what Northwestern will be like next year too? They had a great year this year, not so great. Maybe next year's a build. And then you're gonna end at Rutgers at Rutgers. So we'll see what Rutgers is gonna be like next year.
Jackson.
I know Adam was in the chat here earlier. He doesn't have a great outlook for Rutgers next year, but
it's. I think it's going to be a struggle for Rutgers next season, but. Who knows?
This was their year. This was Rutgers' year because they had like such a nice schedule overall. But
yeah, and they had a pretty veteran team coming back. They lose quite a bit of those guys.
And Indiana,
that schedule for Penn State looks pretty
not bad.
I think that could end up being pretty difficult. Michigan State, I think, is my team to surprise next year. I think that's going to be a team that takes a big leap in the second year under Jonathan Smith.
Yeah, and Indiana, we don't know what they're going to look like next year. But if Signetti,
it's
difficult when you get Ohio State and Indiana back to back, like they have. You never know.
I'll be honest. It wouldn't surprise me that much if this Indiana team was a lot like that 2007 Kansas team. That just rose up and went 12-1 for one season and then returned back.
That was 2007. Let's not talk about the horrors.
Well, on the bright
Wait.
side,
We could have a whole show about 2007. In fact,
we almost have before.
we did. We actually did have a whole show about 2007.
We almost did. We got sidetracked completely into 2007. But yeah, they could be also like that TCU where, hey, this was that year. They did all this stuff, and then next year is kind of a down, and then it'll slowly build back up. Hey, I like Signetti. I know a lot of people don't like the way he talks or he acts or whatever. I'm like, hey, that's just a guy with confidence, you know.
But I think if you have a team like this kind of lower tier team, even if they have a really good coach, if they're heavily relying on the portal and there's massive roster turnover from year to year, you're going to have a program that's wildly inconsistent.
God damn it, Troy. I don't think so.
That's out of the bag now. Not yet.
Yeah, I was like, I don't think so. Probably not. 2020.
No,
Wait.
Life is rough as an FCS independent.
It is. It is out. It is out. It is.
All right.
Is that their whole schedule, or they have not figured out who they're playing?
No, they've probably got some dates to fill. I have not looked at it.
They start off August 30th at Kent State, Golden Flash. That's a really good chance for an FBS win for our Warriors. Yeah, maybe it could be. Yeah. Kent State is not great. Then they have
not great there.
Yeah, a month later at Stony Brook. A couple weeks later, Maine Black Bears. Next month, Colgate Raiders. 20 days later, the Fordham Rams. And then to be determined, Sacred Heart Pioneers. But yeah, they have a lot of dates to fill in there because there's like a month gap here and there. It's like, yeah,
it's a little difficult when you're not in the conference.
Tonight wasn't a total waste. You're welcome, Troy. You're welcome.
Yeah, maybe a scholar. Scott Aller was just waiting the whole time for the Merrimack schedule. I think that's what he said, right?
Oh man, I still have all the names of the teams listed as potential story teams next year, so don't worry. Again, we're gonna try to find the worst FCS team, but Merrimack is always number one. Merrimack will always be our number one. Yeah, I'll go into too much of a rant about Merrimack. Sean, I know you've been here patiently waiting for 48 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
This game, to be honest, I watched it. It felt like no one wanted to win this game for some reason. When it really
not Texas.
The struggle fest of like Texas and Ohio State, it just felt like no one really wanted to win the damn game. I don't know why. Oh no. Hold on. Sean, you're delayed. You're delayed again. Hold on. Oh, Dave.
It's okay, Dave.
No one's happy to lose their defensive coordinator. No one's happy to lose any coach.
Pet the gopher. Just pet the gopher.
Yeah. It's fine. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay.
Oh man. I always think about like the Oregon Georgia game where like the first person you're just pet the duck helmet, just like it's okay. Okay.
It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay.
That's classic.
That was the first live show I did, and that was that game. Good Lord, imagine that solo doing that by yourself. That was terrible. But yeah, hey, Fleck will figure it out. You'll be all right. You'll be all right. I was surprised that we didn't lose anyone this year off our team. Anything significant, anyways. I'm amazed. So next year will be different. Next year will be different, I'm sure.
Well, Oregon's got a really young staff.
Yeah, but we running backs coach to Sam Houston, but that didn't work, so he stayed. He was almost going to take the coaching job there. I thought Stein might be gone. He's coming back as the OC, apparently, unless something changes.
Well, I feel like just around college football, this was a very tame year, very mild year for a coaching turnover. after the hurricane we had last year of coaching upheaval.
I think that was it with the frenzy last year and the year before. This year was kind of a quiet year because everyone's like, hey,
absolutely. It can't be like that every year.
Yeah, you got to give them at least a couple years to like work it out, basically. But Dave Valinsky, thank you, and don't worry. Fleck, you'll be fine.
Okay.
Don't worry.
It's okay. It's okay, Dave.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Still have a good defense. Just you'll be all right. Go touch some grass.
There you go.
There's no grass to touch in Minnesota right now.
Not right now, no.
Yeah, no. Dave, don't go touch any grass. That is a serious health risk right now. If it's anything like it is here in West Michigan.
I'm trying to get back to this game, and B-Bean is just over here. Spaz still out sick. Oregon Spaz is fine. I don't know where he is tonight. Yes, Spaz get deported. Yeah. I don't know where Spaz is tonight. He's fine, I'm sure.
I think he's in a cave somewhere.
Who knows? I haven't heard from him today. So, well, actually, he texted me earlier, but he's fine. Don't worry. Right. Everyone, Spaz is fine. All right. Anyways, Sean, this is your night because that game was, dramatic to say the least. I mean, again, it felt like no one wanted to win the game. I don't know.
I'll tell you who did want to win. It was freaking Captain Jack Sawyer from Pickerington, Ohio.
That is true.
About 20 minutes from Ohio Stadium.
That took the final 2 minutes. Basically, it felt like because it was just a slugfest, and it was just like I don't know. I don't know what the play calling was for Ohio State because they seemed to have got away with it. Texas did a great job, as we were talking about earlier about Smith. There was photos of it where Texas had 3 guys literally just staring at Smith every play, going, "You are not getting free,"
He did. He probably should have had like a 42-yard touchdown catch on the first drive of the game. Howard he got open. Howard was a little off target, made it a little bit of a difficult catch for Smith for JJ, but so that changed things. But yeah, they play Texas a incredibly zone heavy team, which JJ's had a little bit more trouble against this year than the teams that try to man up against them. Oregon was trying to man up against them. Oregon's man heavy scheme, they got killed. Tennessee was going heavy man against them. They got smoked.
In the Oregon game, that was something I said. Oregon actually didn't play too terribly against him. Like those passes were just amazing. Like they were even a couple of times they were tipped balls from the defender. And he still caught it. It was like, dude, you can't defend that stuff. I mean, you just can't.
No, that was Oregon ran into a buzzsaw that night. I think Texas, they just sort of stylistically match up a little bit better with Ohio State's offense, and in addition to probably being better defensively than Oregon anyway.
But overall, probably I'm not going to disagree with that. But
Texas, Ohio State drove right down the field. Opening possession looked like they were cooking again on the second possession, and then Travion Henderson, one of the most mild-mannered guys you'll ever see, for some reason loses his mind and punches a Texas player right in the helmet, draws a 15-yard penalty, and the offense was stuck in mud for the rest of the half until the very last play, in which when Travion, made up for his error.
Well, even in the second half, there were definitely good runs, but there were some times I was watching Judkins running, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" Like, there was a third down in the fourth quarter, late third or early fourth, if I'm mistaken. He ran the back of his own offensive lineman, and then he went to the left where there was like 3 defenders instead of literally like the 10-yard open space to the right, and he got tackled for like a 2-yard loss. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, are you not see the field? I know it's hard to say. I'm not sitting here. I mean, I'm not an Ohio State fan, but I was just like, dude, come on, man. Like,
yeah, well, listen, I mean, Texas, as unimpressive against lower competition as they've been this year, you just had to know, like, they had the talent to stay in basically all of these games. So they were going to, especially if you made some mistakes, they were going to make life hell in this game. And there you are. They were first and goal from the 1 to tie the game late.
Oh, please, that play, the toss play. I mean,
yeah,
I don't hate the play call. What I hated was watching the running back get bumped back, and then he ran backwards further and got tackled for even a bigger loss. I'm like, what are you again? Another running back. What are you doing? Take a 2-yard loss. No, I'm going to take a 7-yard loss.
yeah. At some point, I just want to, like, first and goal from the 1 here. What are the chances, especially when you can just push the quarterback? What are the chances you're not going to score if you just sneak it 4 times?
Everyone's like, where is Manning right now? This is a perfect package situation to put Manning in.
I'm not even saying put Manning in. Like you put a tight end, put Gunnar Helm under center, and put 3 guys behind him, and push. Well, you don't think you'll gain 1 yard in 4 plays?
I think. See, that's where Sark outsmarted himself basically, or tried to game plan himself in that sense.
Yeah.
Play calling, because if you had gone even 4 and out, you didn't get it on 4th down, but you just done like quarterback sneaks the whole time or something like that, or at least run up the middle just 4 straight times and didn't get it, people would go, okay, fine. But going backwards, and then of course,
yeah. And, I mean, you do want to, yeah. Against a team that nobody has run outside on the entire season. Against a team that has, NFL level athletes all over the place, you do the one thing where you can risk losing a significant amount of yardage.
And they did.
Yes, and they did.
When I was looking at this,
and yep, okay. For 1st and 1 becomes 2nd and 8.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Again, it was. Well, no, I believe it was first. It was 1st down. They ran up the middle. They didn't get anything. 2nd down, they did the toss.
No. That toss.
I think that was 2nd down, wasn't it?
Yeah, you're right. Okay, that was 2nd down.
So I get the play call, but again, it was the execution of, instead of taking 2-yard loss, I'm going to run backwards and try, and you lose 7 yards or whatever. That was where I was like, what are we doing here? What are we doing? Oh man. Anyway, carry on with this game for a second.
Oh, I mean, yeah.
Do it, brag.
I don't know.
Be a gloater, Sean. Be a gloater. Tonight's
I think Ohio State was the better team. They probably deserved to win, but Texas, for everything that happened, they were right in there, until the end of the game, and then I mean, Quinn Ewers did not have a particularly good game here. Texas's star-studded offensive line, I did not think had a really strong performance here. Couldn't run the ball. The outside zone that they were trying to run the whole game just never worked, which made that toss sweep play at the end even more suspicious. But I mean, it felt like whenever Ohio State needed to score in this game, they probably could. But, for whatever reason, penalties and errors and mental mistakes were getting in the way of them really creating any sort of distance in the midsection of this game. So, yeah, they made life a little bit harder on themselves than they needed to, but yeah, what a dramatic, great way to pull it out at the end.
Yeah, I mean, like Ben was saying, where he was like talking about how Sark outsmarted himself. He's right. 'Cause, I mean, it's like Texas had plenty of chances to beat Ohio State. I mean, especially when you're like double teaming on Jeremiah Smith, you got a chance to make big plays. But how Texas screwed that up is beyond me. Like, my God.
Yeah.
But you know what's funny though?
Mhm.
August 30th, 2025, the revenge game.
Yeah, they get to come into Columbus for that one. And that would be interesting because both these teams are going to be ranked real high in the preseason, even though both are losing a lot this year.
Uh-huh.
We at least expect both of them to lose a lot. Who knows what eligibility is anymore? The NCAA. But I do know the Buckeyes are going to be losing more than half their starters overall to the NFL.
Yeah.
So, and both teams will be breaking in brand new, highly touted quarterback, but unproven quarterbacks coming into this year, into that game. Yeah, there'll be a lot of discussion about that game all off season, and really week one as a whole is kind of a killer next year, isn't it? Like there's a bunch of really good games set up, but
because they should, Darth Ducky, teams should play top tier non-conference games. Like the Blue Bloods in college football should do that. I don't like the Penn State route. I think you should be knocked out of the playoffs if you're having that easy non-con crap.
no one likes it, but the current system probably incentivizes you to do that.
Oh. I like having the toughest non-con schedule as much as possible because then nobody can really talk smack about you.
Yeah, but who cares about talking smack? The whole point is getting
That's true.
to the difficult part of the getting into the playoffs.
Yeah.
You can talk shit about me all I want.
There you go.
I'm living in a mansion in Beverly Hills. If you can say all the shit you want.
Now this story.
You can talk about my hair and my my beard, my car, whatever. Who gives a shit?
But yeah, this was.
To be clear, I'm not living in a mansion in Beverly Hills. So.
But now, like the Buckeyes are in the national title. Is there going to be a lot of people still thinking about the Michigan losses? Because I'll be honest, I think they will. Like, there's going to be some people that are, but they're like, Ryan Day's created enough goodwill anyhow.
It's so weird for me. I just don't care about it at all anymore. I didn't think I would be at that place. After that game happened, I was feeling like, you know what? Even if we win the national title, it'll still be bitter. It'll still be, it'll still be bittersweet. It will only relieve a little bit of pain. It won't. The way that this team has responded, the way they've played, it's really like that game didn't happen to me. It really is. It's just, and maybe that's a bad thing. Maybe we're taking a little bit of the stakes of these rivalry games away with these expanded playoffs. But I think overall, it's a much better product than it was certainly than it was before we, made the 4-team playoff, where losing a game like that just kills your whole offseason. And honestly, like I think this team has shown they don't deserve to be remembered for a game like that.
Uh-huh.
And in the past, that would have been their legacy, was that final game against Michigan, where they played far from their best game, and their coaching staff obviously let them down big time. But that's why it was such a perfect year to introduce this 12 team playoff, because we would have ended up, even if we had a 4-team playoff, we would have ended up this year with kind of an unsatisfying result. I mean, probably at least by the rankings that were revealed at the end, neither Ohio State or Notre Dame would have been in a 4-team playoff.
No. Nor Penn State, nor
Penn State would have been. Penn State would have been the last team in. They were number 4 in this.
It would have been definitely Oregon, I think.
Oregon and Georgia would have been the old national championship game, pre-2014.
Penn State probably would have, I think they would have been the 4th one. The 3rd, I think you could be.
Yeah, come to think of it, it would have been that is a good point. It probably would have been SEC and Big Ten for the 4-team playoff, which that would have made everybody pissed.
It's interesting to see if they would have maybe made a political decision to include Notre Dame in, just to not make it 2-2, but. Regardless, Ohio State almost for sure would not have been in. And right now, we have 2 teams that arguably wouldn't have been in. And
I think number 3. Then I think Penn State would have been 4. I think number 3 actually probably would have still been Boise.
No, it would have been Texas for sure.
I don't know, because Texas had 2 losses. Boise's only loss was by 3 on the road to Oregon.
But Boise played a Mountain West schedule. Boise didn't have.
I know, but I think they would have. I think they would have shocked some people and put Boise in over Texas, because Texas has been. We just saw it the other night. Inconsistent, to say the least, at times this year. Let's put it that way. And they lost twice to a team that's also in the playoff. So I don't know. You kind of have to take that into account also. So,
well, Troy V brought up a good point a little while ago about Natty trumps all, because 2017 when Alabama won it all, everybody forgot about the fact they lost to Auburn. Although, to tell you the truth, I actually kind of wanted to see Auburn win the SEC title against Georgia, so that we could have gone against them in the national championship to beat them, like beat Auburn in an Iron Bowl national title rematch.
It's a curious question, and maybe you guys touched upon it already while I was walking away for a second. There's an interesting comment. So again, you look at Ryan Day this year, all the pressure. Marcus Freeman's in a great spot. They already, did a contract extension. Ryan Day has
South Bend is not a great spot.
But I'm saying they already extended him. He's doing good. Obviously, championship game appearance. We'll see how this plays out. Ryan Day, though, I've seen a lot of commentary, of course, after losing one to, basically getting kind of like fooled initially for losing to Oregon with Dan Lanning, and the rule change that came immediately for the NCAA. But then losing to Michigan the way they did. But now he's on the right track. Ohio State's in a good place, obviously, going for the title. Some people have said, win or lose, Ryan Day shouldn't even come back. Like, he should just walk away, because Ohio State's been such a shit show to him. Like, the pressure of it. I don't know. I'm just the outsider. This is what I've seen, I've heard, and I'm like, I kind of get the argument that is it, like, if he comes back next year, for instance, and say he loses to Michigan again, like that kind of argument, like at this point, take a title maybe and walk away and just be like, you know what, I'm going to the NFL. I understand the argument on both sides. I just find it interesting, because you're about to win maybe potentially a national goddamn title.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't throw the cart in before the horse just yet. Game's not been.
That's where I'm at. I'm like, dude, you're literally playing for a title, national title. I don't think a couple losses. I guess it's just the fact that it wasn't quite the season they were expecting. Didn't play for the Big Ten title.
It's entirely because of who they lost to.
Mhm.
If you switch the Michigan and Nebraska results, the whole conversation is just different. No, I mean, I don't know. I mean, like Ohio State's it's one of the best jobs you can have in all of football.
I do agree. There's
they win close to 90% of their conference games. Close to 90% of their games overall. If they're run well.
There's a lot of pressure being the Ohio State coach. There's high expectations. So I understand the pressure situation. And then, like you
just so much of that will be relieved when you win a national title, though. I mean, especially you win it the way that they have so far.
Yeah, but I do have to say it because actually there's only one of us that, didn't lose to Michigan this season on the panel right now. So, shout out Michigan.
Well, do you think
how long have you been holding that in?
Actually, that just came to my mind. I was like, oh yeah, Alabama too. That's right.
I would not be surprised if Ryan Day does leave for that. Like, if Ohio State does win it all against Notre Dame, Ryan Day's like, okay, I'm gone. Bye. Like, that would be the smart move right there.
I think he could go any time he wanted to, and he's going to go. He'll get an NFL job if he wanted it. I mean, anyone would hire Ryan Day. Anyone would.
Oh, yeah. Was the head coach?
Yeah, head coach. Or
there aren't that many. How many coaching jobs even came open this offseason? There's only like
the Jets are open. The Bears are open. Who knows with the Cowboys? I mean, Steelers gave Tomlin a vote of confidence.
Obviously the Patriots were open.
The Saints are open. The Raiders are open. Patriots just hired Mike Vrabel. The Jaguars, I believe, are open.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything from Jacksonville.
So well put. Let's throw the Jaguars.
I'm just. So, you get it going at a place like Ohio State. You can be a legend pretty, very realistically. It's pretty hard to do that in the NFL, to really build a legacy anywhere.
Well, there are certain coaches, like I don't know extensively Ryan Day's like history and stuff. Obviously, I know he has a history with Chip Kelly, so that made sense for them to come back together and kind of thing in that sense. But it's kind of like he seems like maybe he would do an NFL thing where he's like, I look at someone like us and Dan Lanning and they go, NFL teams are interested, whatever. It's like, he seems like a college coach, like for Lanning. That's what he loves to do it. I don't think he wants to deal with that.
He has absolutely no NFL experience. Ryan Day's been there.
Yeah.
Plus, Dan Lanning's wife said she wants to stay in Eugene, Oregon. And it was like Dan Lanning said, she's the head coach of the house. So, I mean,
and that's a promise for a family, at least until the kids grow up. But I mean, that's like at least another 8-9 years until they're like settled on. And hey, if you have a coach for 10 years, cool, and they want to go do something different. But Ryan Day, as long as he's winning, especially bringing home potential titles or playing for titles, as long as he doesn't lose to Michigan every fucking year. That was not an F-bomb, chat. Stop counting. I slurred the word perfectly. It was not an F-bomb. But as long as he doesn't keep losing to Michigan, I think he could be at Ohio State. As long as he wants to be. It's just, does he want to be there with the pressure? That's all I've seen.
Oh, I would get out. I mean, if I'm Day, and I would get out for the Saints, the Jaguars, or the Raiders.
Oh, come on. You're not going to win 90% of your games.
Maybe not,
More than the Raiders.
but I know that nobody's gonna gripe at me for losing to the Packers twice a year at the Bears. They just want to see playoffs.
But they'll fire you the year that you go 7-10 and like you had 15 guys on the IR.
Yeah,
They'll blame it all on you.
Oh well, I mean
like coaches in the NFL hardly last at all. Like it'd be interesting if we went through the teams right now. Who's had a coach longer than like 6 years? Which teams? It's probably like a third of the league.
Oh, yeah.
At this point, I mean, like they just. You are a cog in the machine at the NFL. You can really do something. You can build something in college.
Yeah, but I mean,
and you can gain like great job security. Like Ryan Day has obviously proven he's a really good football coach at the bare minimum. So,
but the loss of
you're if you're constantly in the national title and you're at least competitive in that rivalry.
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, like he's probably a better coach than Sharon Moore, so he'll probably figure it out and he'll probably go back to winning that game.
I mean,
eventually.
It is an interesting situation when you get into.
He doesn't have to deal with Jim Harbaugh in that game anymore.
Yeah, but
think about it. If he coaches at the Raiders, he would get the coach against Harbaugh twice a year.
You would have to face him every year almost.
Twice a year, as a matter of fact. But I mean, if he was at like the Bears or if he goes to the Jaguars, he only has to face them like once every 2 years.
You have one bad season in the NFL and they just axe you. Yeah, because the owners and the GMs can never get anything wrong, so it's always the coach's fault.
Yeah, and so here, like Darrell says,
in college, you run the actual program. You're responsible for the results on the field.
But see, that's the difference between NFL and college. Is though it's the NFL, it's not you as the head coach necessarily that's actually in charge of the damn program. It's your front office, your GMs. If you have a crappy front office, like it's been said a couple times, you're set up to fail, basically. You're set up to fail. Whereas in college, you are the coach. You actually are the CEO. You get to run things.
Yeah, and I mean, if your front office, drafts a shitty quarterback in the first round,
that's not on you.
You're probably out of you're probably gone. You're probably out of your job in 2 years.
Yeah, it doesn't take long.
There's so much out of your control.
Yeah, it doesn't take long. It's not like college where at least generally in college, you get 3 or 4 years to build a program. But if you're being successful, who cares? I mean, Ohio State is different, but like look at some other teams, like a PJ Fleck, for instance, say. He can go 7-8 wins every year. They are happy, and he could stay there for his entire life. As long as they're consistent and every 4 or 5 years, say challenge for the Big Ten, they're happy.
Yeah, and and as long as they're graduating their players and they're not making a mess of things off the field, bringing shame to the university, they'll stay.
Yeah, I mean, as a college coach, you're always you're still the coach, so you have to deal with the PR basically of the program. Shout out our wide receiver Pelham for going to the portal and then getting a national arrest warrant put on him for pistol whipping someone on Christmas Day.
It would be awesome if the feds tracked him down when they found him in the portal.
We dodged the bullet.
What was the guy's name that you were just talking about, Ben? that pulled out the.
Yeah, it was the wide receiver Pelham. Basically never played. Apparently, he pistol whipped someone on Christmas Day, but then he went to the portal. So now Oregon doesn't have to deal with it because he's gone.
So you're saying he got an offer from the FBI.
Oh man, like that guy that pistol whipped Chester on Gunsmoke. That's what he was doing. I wonder if Matt Dillon's gonna whoop that guy's ass for pistol whipping the cop. Be like, hey, you gotta dodge. Nope, I guess not.
So dumb. But yeah, that's a good question here too.
Matt Dillon, the guy in There's Something About Mary.
No, Marshall Dillon.
No,
I just want to see if he'll whoop. Nah, I don't think he'll come in and whoop Ryan Pellin's ass. But he does need his ass kicked for pistol whipping votes.
That's a good question, though. I mean, again, I don't think Day is going anywhere, especially if he wins a title. If he did, I'd be surprised because he's leaving a lot of money on the table. They're not going to fire him. But that's it. Who would Ohio State even get? You know,
A lot.
I mean, Chip Kelly.
No, I think
head coach.
This is the supreme arrogance of a blue blood fan, especially a fan of a program that's come off of two of the most successful coaching tenures. Period. It's like the program just built itself. It just recruits itself. It's easily to win 11 games every year.
Yeah, but
go ask any other program in the country.
I know.
Like how easy it is to just maintain success. Go at USC out there. USC on the West Coast. They're in the only part of the West Coast that actually gets real talent.
Shout out USC.
And yet they can't build any consistency. Bama's only been good. Bama's only been good the last 30 years under Nick Saban.
Fair.
Yeah.
The whole question was though, like if Day left, I mean, who would Ohio State get? Because you have Chip Kelly there, but Chip Kelly literally left a head coaching job to not have to be a head coach. You know, I mean, and he was going to be fine. He could stay at UCLA for easily 4, 5, 6 more years, probably.
No, they were like trying to decide whether they were going to fire him or if it was going to be.
I know, but they kept giving him extensions, and then he had a decent year last year. He had a pretty decent season. So, point is, he left a head coaching job to back to being an OC. I don't think he would want the Ohio State job.
No, not a chance. No way. No, I mean,
it would be more like Matt Campbell from Iowa State.
Oh God, here we go. Matt Campbell. No. I'm sorry. No.
I'll tell you this. He has done one of the most slept on jobs. Iowa State's history is so goddamn terrible. If you look back through, Iowa State is in the golden era of their college football existence. Like this is by far the best they've ever been.
Definitely. I would that. Yeah, because like even the COVID year for Iowa State, the COVID year had an asterisk next to it, obviously.
But they've been really good for they've been an above average program for the last 6, 7, 8 years.
Stop it, Darth Ducky. Stop it. Beamer ball to Ohio State. No. After the Illinois game.
Are we talking Frank or Shane?
I don't know, but
hell no. Brian Kelly to Ohio State. Oh my God.
Oh God.
Sure.
If Ohio State hired if Brian Kelly ever went to Ohio State, the Buckeyes would never win a big game ever again with Brian Kelly.
Oh my God, no.
This just illustrates the point to me. It's not as easy to come up with a name. You prefer Ryan Day.
And shout out Dan Mullen to
it's not that hard. It's not that easy.
Well, shout out Dan Mullen for taking the UNLV job, but that seems that's a no pressure job. So if he wants to get back to coaching, that's a no pressure situation to a degree. That's not Ohio State or Alabama or Oregon or LSU or Georgia or UNLV is a low pressure job. I mean,
no. Sucks as a head coach. Cliff Kingsbury as a head coach.
Oh God. Oh man.
This is Kiffin. No, this is Lane Kiffin, I think.
Lane Kiffin. No.
Okay.
He can't win a big game.
Yeah, I was like, Lane Kiffin. I mean, if it was, I would take Lane Kiffin over Cliff Kingsbury. That would be easy. Cliff Kingsbury has done absolutely nothing. relative in his career successfully. He's always had a losing record. So
Yeah.
I would take Lane Kiffin at least if I had to. Shout out Lane Kiffin. You beat up on the Dukes. Good job.
Yep.
Good job. Good job. That verified you should have been in the playoff. Good job. When Duke had their 5th string quarterback in. Good job.
Oh my god.
The Junior Blue Devils never had a chance.
I thought they actually did, and then I realized that it was their 5th string quarterback, and I was like, oh, never mind. I was like, that guy can't throw the ball to save his life. How is he a quarterback even?
That's funny, Austin. That's funny. Oh,
Hey. Youngstown kid.
Oh, yeah.
The Columbus.
Oh,
that would be a crazy show of Buckeyes Live.
How about Bob Stoops to Ohio State?
Nah, he'd probably have a heart attack if he had to go to Ohio
I'm
State.
pretty sure he's in full retirement mode.
Yes,
he's
very
not,
much yes.
He's not coming back.
Unless the XFL comes back for another season, I think he's
Really tired. Oh my god. Oh, Darth Ducky, you are a monster. Stop it. Yeah, Willie Taggart is unemployed right now, isn't he?
Well,
I don't know. I don't know where he was or where he is right now. So, all right, Chad. All right. You guys are getting ridiculous. Jimbo Fisher.
hey Ben, your name's in the ring.
People are ridiculous.
Oh my god, that's funny.
Hey, I don't have to do anything. Hey, Chip, just don't screw it up.
But Ohio State Notre Dame is the national championship on January 20th in Atlanta.
It's gonna be a good game. I don't know if this is gonna be actually some sort of. This feels like a rock fight. It just feels like, it's always the cliche everyone says in battles are won in the trenches. That's what this feels like, because I don't know. This is Riley Leonard going against Will Howard. It just seems like two quarterbacks just.
Yeah.
Notre Dame, I much respect Marcus Freeman, that staff, and Al Golden. That is not the Al Golden I know. When I think Al Golden, I think of Miami, and now I see him on the sideline. I'm like, that's not Al Golden. That's not Al Golden.
Well, you think of him like dressed up like he's an insurance salesman.
Yes. And now you see him like slicked back. He's aged, like 12 years, and you're like, that's not Al Golden. Not the one I remember anyway.
The image I'll always have is him basically meeting Dabo midfield after a 58-0 beatdown. Basically, essentially knowing he was done, he got fired, and Dabo basically praying for him in the middle of the field.
Yeah, this is gonna be a good game. I do think this is gonna be a good game.
If we do get Kirk Herbstreit, is there a chance we could get Chase Herbstreit in the portal? If he,
We'll wait and see.
Oh God, it is a similar line. If I recall correctly, I mean I could look it up, but I just don't want to. Ohio State was favored, I believe, by 7 over Texas, and they're minus 8.5. Over
I saw it open at 9.5, so it's actually come down a little bit.
Yeah. And it's gonna change a little bit more. It'll probably come down even more as we get closer. That's generally how lines go. But you're favored probably by a touchdown.
I'll be honest. You can play this back to me later and make a fool out of me all you want. I've tried to talk myself out of this position. I'm more confident about this game than I've been about any game this playoff run for Ohio State. I don't think Notre Dame is not a great offensive football team. They're a running team that hasn't been able to run the last 3 games. Their quarterback is very inconsistent. I would say quite mediocre. Their passing game doesn't really threaten you in any way. They will be without their starting left tackle the next game.
Love is still dinged up too, a little bit.
Okay, so and I was looking through the PFF stats. Riley Leonard is one of the worst quarterbacks in the country when pressured while not getting blitzed. So basically, against a 4-man or fewer rush, when he faces pressure, he was something like the 120th best quarterback in the country. I think Ohio State's going to be able to get quite a bit of pressure without blitzing in this game. They've got mismatches all across that line, and they're the best rush defense in the country. I struggle to see how Notre Dame scores much at all, like gets anything going on offense in this game.
I wonder,
which will just allow Ohio State to play a fairly pedantic game offensively and still probably be able to be in control the whole time.
Well, I wonder, after seeing this last game against Penn State, where Riley Leonard went out, and then their backup came in, and all of a sudden was like 6 of 8 down the field for that field goal. I'm wondering if they're going to use some sort of packaging. I mean, it's the national title game, the last game of the year. You don't hold back any wrinkles on the same side for Ohio State. You throw everything you got at them. I wonder if they have something kind of, maybe that gave them confidence in their backup,
Well, I mean, like they've got to have some wrinkles ready, because I just don't think conventionally they can attack this Buckeye defense much at all. I just don't think they're going to get much going.
Well, plus, remember, though, Notre Dame has a 12th man on the field all the time. Don't count out touchdown Jesus, you fucking cheaters. There we go.
But see, like, no team loves Jesus this year more than Ohio State. You just have to follow the Instagram accounts of the team and of the various players on the team. So we've kind of co-opted, that Jesus is going to be really conflicted in this game. Is what I'm saying. Like, you know what?
Oh. It's going to be a good game, though. I mean, regardless, I think it's going to be. I don't even want to try to say. I mean, I do feel like I lean Ohio State. Obviously, also rooting Big Ten. We're the new guys, but we already have a conference title, so got to rep Big Ten. At least I said that we had to admit at least. Hey, walked away with hardware this year, so. Not a bad year, at least when you leave with something, Miami. Oh, good. Jackson's gone. Good.
Good. No, but yeah. So I feel like it's a bet. And if we're going to break it down on the other side, Notre Dame is almost a pure man coverage, a cover 1, single high safety. And that has been a recipe for disaster against Ohio State this year. Now, Notre Dame is like the best in the country at it. So that's going to be, and they've got a couple great corners there. Leonard Moore, Christian Gray. They're really good guys. They're really, maybe they can hold up, but against Ohio State's receiver core, I think playing man exclusively the whole game,
not smart.
And asking your corners to just hang on like that's brutal. That's probably too much.
They're going to do the same game plan like Texas did, like Michigan did, where they're going to.
I don't think so.
I don't know. I mean, they're going to.
I mean, that just changes too much of who they are, too much of what they've done. I don't think I don't think they're capable of executing that. Like Texas is a heavy, too high zone team. Like that's what they do generally.
That is true. I mean, schematically, that's not who they are. And fundamentally, maybe not. But I think you're going to see some wrinkles. Al Golden's going to pull out some stops, because they know what they're going to go up against. They've seen two defenses play and have good success in that formation and that style, and they're gonna do a little bit. But yeah, playing man, absolutely not. That is a disaster recipe for disaster.
Right.
You're just gonna play man. That is not gonna be good.
Yeah, I just look at this game all across, and I'm like, I have a really, really hard time seeing a path to victory for Notre Dame in this game that doesn't involve Ohio State just turning the ball over and making a million mental errors.
Yeah, it's gonna be like if they can force turnovers and kind of like Georgia, they force turnovers and score in short fields.
Mm-hmm. But Georgia's also, I mean, like they're offensively, they're not what Ohio State is.
Oh no, God no, and they had their backup quarterback, So I mean, no, absolutely not.
So I mean, in that game, Notre Dame didn't produce a whole lot offensively. Really, in none of these games has Notre Dame produced a lot offensively. Outside of like the second half against Penn State, this has been kind of kind of a grind for Notre Dame. All these games.
I'll give them the second half of Penn State is their best show.
Right.
That's for sure. Dave Valensky. I will say this. I don't think Notre Dame is going to get that. He did in 20. I think meaning it's not going to be the same type of game as in 2011 against Alabama where they got absolutely destroyed. But Jesus and Manti. That
was the 2012. Yes. Rest in peace, Lene Kekua.
Fake girlfriend or whatever. Yeah.
Hey, I felt for Teo at the time too, because my girlfriend at that time wasn't real either. So
Teo though he turned into be quite the NFL linebacker for a while there.
So, yeah, Chargers.
Oh man, that brings out good times. That was a wild.
That was just the nuttiest story of all time. I had to put a few people in line on the X machine a few weeks ago when they were comparing Travis Hunter's girl giving a grinding on a guy at a bar to the Teo story. I'm like, if you are comparing these two stories, you are under 11 years old. Like these are not the same thing. Yeah.
Oh man. Or after this is NFL, but after the loss, Urban Meyer not traveling back with the team, but going to a strip club.
Oh.
His bar. Whatever.
That's just the perks of the job. There, it's a Columbus special. He could have gone a little. He could have gone a little bit further north and gotten the Cleveland Steamer as well. But
the Teo story was wild, though. That was one of those ones. That's like, what? Shout out Dave though with the super chat and bringing up Teo and Troy. You behave yourself, Troy.
Wow.
My God, these people in the chat tonight. How the Chargers done in the playoffs? They charged it. Of course, they charged it, but not bad. First year for Jim Harbaugh, not bad. But then again, when you have Justin Herbert, pretty good. That team needs a few pieces, and they'll be solid. I think.
Yeah, but it was funny listening to all the talk from the Michigan fans about how Mentor was shutting Stroud down once again because they didn't score anything for the first quarter and a half, and then things kind of changed pretty quickly during the. But congratulations, Stroud, finally beating Harbaugh.
Hey, too, I see that comment. Not putting it on the screen, but I see that comment. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. And Cheryl makes a good point though, because this last game, yeah, Ohio State's not been using G. Scott a lot. This last game, he was pretty active. I think you got to get those tight ends involved, man.
Yeah,
you've got to. I think that is going to be maybe a key focal. I don't know how this game's going to go. What version of Ohio State are you going to get? Are you going to get the Michigan style, or are you going to get the let's air it out against Oregon style?
Well, I think they're going to at least take some shots. If Notre Dame's going to come out and play that single high against the man coverage.
You're killing me. That's a good question, though. Fake McTiteo girlfriend.
Hey, can we make that a poll here?
Right? Can we do? Yeah, I think I can actually. Hold on, give me 2 seconds.
Yeah.
We're gonna make a poll. Literally, I think I can. I should be able to. Let's see here. If not, I know Jack when he comes back. Good Lord, you are terrible. You are all awful tonight. This is what it's not even the off season yet, and you people are already losing your minds. Oh God. Okay. I got you. I should be.
It's the off season for most of you guys, so I understand.
How dare you?
Yeah. How are you enjoying the off season so far, Ben?
It's all right. It's all right. It could be worse. I mean, definitely could be worse. Let's put it that way. Can I? No, I guess I don't have that type of I don't have that type of power to make a poll. Only Jackson does. I'm gonna guess Jackson has the power, but I don't. So unfortunately, everyone in the chat, press 1 if you'd prefer a fake girlfriend, or press 2 if you'd prefer Travis Hunter's girlfriend. We're waiting. Dun, 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 dun. The chat's already spoken, basically, like, yeah, fake girlfriend. It's like a clear winner at this point. Already spoken, basically, like, yeah, fake girlfriend. What the hell?
I had to open that browser up to weigh in here. So
it was like, what the hell? All right. Final thoughts about the title game, because yeah, the chat is Bootzilla at 3. He wants neither. He's the special one in this chat. I agree, though. I would be neither. I would agree.
There's always a kinky fuck. I always know that, man. Always some non-binary bullshit out there.
I'll use my imagination.
No. He does not subscribe to our binary limitations of this ball. That's what I.
People are out of control tonight. You're not wrong, Cheryl. Not wrong at all. Yeah. Any final thoughts of John on this game? Because this is your night. This is your night.
What?
Ohio State. This is your night. Ohio State.
Yeah. It's yeah. I mean, it's kind of thing. We'll be back here next week, and the game still would not have been played. We're previewing a game.
I know. This is the spacing is crap. when you're coming with
Weird. It's
That's why I was like, I can't
so
do,
weird. Friday and Monday.
I can't do a season review because I'm like, well, teams are still playing technically, and then we have next Sunday still, and yeah, so it's a shit scheduling, and
No, we'll probably spend a little bit more time. I'm next week actually like previewing the game.
oh yeah,
I'll tell you this thing. Ohio State's a bad matchup for Notre Dame. That's that's all I can really say. I don't think. I think the other two teams matched up better, and I can go on a little rant here about again. I just think the bracket and the seeding was terrible for this whole process was awful.
yeah. No, the seating was terrible. There was a great layout of I believe it was by correct me if I'm wrong, it was on 3 that did it, I believe, and they said, hey, here's the bracket if it was just the top 12 teams as they were ranked by the committee before the playoff switcheroos up. And you actually saw some good matchups, and it made more sense because there was no reason Oregon and Ohio State should have played each other in the Rose Bowl at that time.
And conversely, there's no reason we should have a quarterfinal game between Penn State and Boise State either.
Well,
no,
that's true. I mean, I also agree. I would love to see more home games. Like the first 2 rounds should be home games for the higher seed. But how do you work that with the bowl tie-ins and
it's I mean, there's a lot of politics that has to go into that because you would have a lot of years where it's like some of the bowl games that are in the normal New Year's Six aren't part of the playoff. And so they end up having to host a game between teams that are way they would end up having a South Carolina, Illinois, or I don't know. I mean, they would end up having some pretty awful games.
Yeah,
in the Cotton Bowl or in the Rose Bowl.
There are things that need to get fixed, and that's why this year it really sucks that it's now they go immediately. They're like, "Wow, that didn't work out the way we were hoping it would."
But it does actually kind of work out pretty well for the New Year's Six format to have those 2 rounds for the playoff because there's exactly 6 games in the quarterfinals and the semifinals. So that's one way it just works out. That means 2/3 of the year, the Cotton Bowl is just going to be an old school Gator Bowl.
Yeah, and I think the buys actually need to go away. They're not going to obviously right now, but people have said don't use the rust as an excuse. But there is a legitimacy to it because think Ohio State, remember, didn't play in the Big Ten title game. So they had a week off. Then they had another week. So they already had 2 weeks off. They played Tennessee. They warmed up. Then they played Oregon hadn't played in 3 or 4 weeks. That's not an excuse for how Oregon performed. They just came out looking like garbage, and Ohio State just whooped that ass. Plain and simple. But I think it is. That's why you see these bowl games where everyone has a month off. Both teams sometimes look rusty, kind of testing it out the first quarter. That's what Oregon really was in that game for the most part, and it was just shit. It was shit. So, oh god.
But shouldn't one of the benefits of winning a conference championship game be you get that extra week? Because now it's
if you're not playing the title game like Ohio State was, you kind of make up for that time off because you're not playing that week. You're resting up and shit. And you're already expected to go into the playoff at 10-2. So you're just chilling. George is in the chat. George is a legend here.
George.
He's got
don't see him around here that often, but
he's not. But he's got to be feeling good about those Gators coming in next year. He's got to be feeling pretty good. Pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Lagway era is underway.
And keeping people laughed at it when they kept Billy Napier right after, and then he got smoked by Texas. I'm like, Hey, that turned out to be probably a good decision because then they went on a run with Lagway when he came back in because at Texas they didn't have Lagway. He was out. So I think it was a good decision.
Yeah.
Stand behind your coach. Oh God.
But Florida needs to get their act together. Are we at an era now where all the Florida teams are basically dysfunctional? Or at least like
Don't
who
even.
knows what Miami is?
We're not even getting into an FSU conversation tonight. That's 2 hours on its own.
Well,
I just
perhaps we could talk about Notre
They
Dame.
have so many advantages. All of these Florida programs. Come on,
Yeah, it's a rough year in general for Florida teams, but Florida itself, UF, the Gators, they ended strong. They ended strong at least. So that's a good.
And if you look at Florida's history. When they were under Spurrier, they were great. Under Urban, they were great. And everything else through the entire history of their football program, whatever. It's just been clearly they're capable of being an elite program, but they haven't been anywhere close to that for most of it.
Yeah, we'll have a off season kind of look back, especially about the most disappointing teams because obviously when you start at number, I believe they were number 10. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe they were number 10 at FSU. When you do that and you go 2-10 in the season in the
and one of your wins is over a 1-win FCS program.
Exactly. I mean, yeah,
and the other is over the Calgorithm, which deserves a slap across the face in itself.
Yeah, Cal should have won that damn game too. That was a Justin Wilcox fuck special, basically. I mean, that's all that was. Yeah. They should have won that game, and oh man, the Calgorithm. The Calgorithm, another great story of the season. The Calgorithm. Dave Valensky, God damn it, Dave, you are just dropping dollars over here. We need to have a shirtless party for you. The rules and the seeding were set up to try to force Notre Dame into a conference. Hopefully, it backfires on the college football playoff.
I hope it does backfire on CFP.
Here's the lesson, CFP. If you just be an honest actor. Because one of the two things are going to happen in this. Either what Dave is proposing is going to blow up in your face, or Ohio State beats them by 60, and then the fraud of their bracket, of their system, gets exposed.
I think the system has already been proven to not be too bad, though, for Notre Dame at this point. I mean, you already took out Penn State, who, again, offensively, generally is not the greatest team in the world, but defensively is. But they already took out Notre Dame. They've gone through they took out Georgia. Granted, Georgia backup quarterback, got it. But I don't know. If this game's even close, I think they kind of dispel the whole Notre Dame needs to join a conference thing. I trust me, I don't like it. I think Notre Dame should be in a conference. But that's me, because why do you have this special treatment where you get to pick your own schedule and you get to play all these, teams, NIU, shout out.
But here's the thing. The committee could have actually punished Notre Dame, because Notre Dame shouldn't even have gotten a home playoff game.
Well, yeah, because they don't play a title game. I mean, so
but they had a horrendous loss, and also not a great schedule
it's arguably the worst loss in college football for any of the playoff teams.
And they have one of the they have. Their best win was Louisville during the season. Army?
Louisville, probably.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry, you have a loss that bad, and you have basically no schedule to to amend to atone for that ridiculous loss, and somehow they're still a top 7 team.
Well,
They're a top 8 team. Like they should not have gotten a home playoff game this year.
This is the rebuttal again to this, and now you can say about where they were getting a bye. Boise State. Guess what? What was their best win? UNLV twice. They played a conference title. They won a conference title. Their only loss was 3 points to Oregon as time expired. Technically, they should have been higher than Notre Dame because they actually played a title game and didn't have an embarrassing loss. Their loss was literally to the undefeated Big Ten champions, on the road.
Right. And they beat a top 25 team twice.
Yeah. I mean, so that's why when I get into this argument with people like Boise State, I'm like, you
preach
about,
I mean, like Notre Dame played a tougher schedule than Boise State this year, but UNLV is as good of a win as Louisville or Army.
Yeah, because Army
roughly somewhere.
I mean, Army got spanked by Navy. God's sake. Now, that's an interesting. These are off-season topics, but Army being in the AAC now, they played the title. They won it. Then they got spanked by Army or by Navy the next week. They didn't get that week off like they normally would have before joining a conference. I'm wondering if that plays into some of that. But regardless, you got spanked by Navy.
And it is kind of weird because that technically because Army was the only ranked win that Notre Dame had this year. If they delay the college football the bracket a week later, like how much does that Navy win over Army affect the playoff rankings? It might affect it a little. It affects it a little tiny bit at least.
Everything a week different affects a bunch of different stuff. It's
but it's unusual because that's the only game that gets played that weekend.
Yeah, but going back to Notre Dame, they don't have the greatest schedule, but they've done everything they need to do. And granted, that loss to NIU, it wasn't like it was week 9. It was second or third week. Second or third game.
It was a total one-off. It was a complete fluke.
Yeah, teams change throughout the season. They adjust and all that. So at the same time, and they're showing it right now by beating these other teams that are supposed to be better than them. And that at the end of the day is what matters, Like I thought they would beat Georgia, but I thought Penn State would beat them. Well, they beat both of them, so here we are. That's all you gotta do: win on the field, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Bringing up old wounds.
Marshall, Stanford, NIU.
And they should have also lost to Cal that year. They lost to Stanford. They probably should have lost to Cal that year also. That was last season, I believe.
Dollar bills. There we go.
That
is a Notre Dame special. They lose one just bizarre game a year. I think that's like an Oregon special too. In general, you always lose like that one where you're like, no way, and then it happens. You're like, what happens?
You just get picked off by a guy named Scooby.
Scooby Doo, right?
Oh man! Oh, Jesus!
They would have gotten Oregon would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for those damn kids.
Hey, all Oregon has to say is, Pac-12 makes the Big Ten look pretty easy. Pac-12 is rough, man. You just don't know.
There you go. Congratulations to Bootzilla, as he is now a new YouTube member for the Voice of College Football.
That's right. Let's go.
There we go.
Gentlemen, do you have any final thoughts and topics for the evening?
Well, I will say, final thoughts. It's a shame that this only going to be the 9th time that Notre Dame and Ohio State played each other in the series history, because it's like that feels like a game that should be played more often.
There was a reason like it didn't get played more often. Was Woody Hayes and the Notre Dame coaches like Eric Parseghian, Darren Devine during that era, they always like to kind of have each other as a recruit, as sort of a negative recruiting tool to get people to go from Michigan. Like I've heard that if a player Woody Hayes would always talk up Notre Dame if there was a player they weren't going to get. And he was deciding between Michigan and Notre Dame. They would always push the other one, push them towards Notre Dame. And Notre Dame would always do the same to Ohio State. Yeah. So Notre Dame and Ohio, they had, it was kind of a Warsaw Pact alliance here with each other. It's like, you know what? We're not, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So there was never any desire for them to go to war with each other.
Yeah.
Because
like,
they had a
prior
common
to
enemy.
that, it still would have been fun to see him play in the 40s.
Jackson, you were around in the 40s to watch them play. How were those games?
I didn't. I wasn't in that era, and there wasn't any history of those games in the 40s. But they did play each other in 1935 and
1936, and then again in the 90s, like 95, 96.
96. Buckeyes won both of them.
Eddie George ran for like 250 yards in one of those games.
Double D for the touchdown.
And then in the 2006 Fiesta Bowl, Buckeyes behind incredible over 600 yards of total offense, but still only 34 points. Knocked off the Irish then.
26 Fiesta Bowl.
Yeah, that was a game. Joey Bosa got knocked out for targeting. Ezekiel Elliott honored him after a touchdown run, giving the signature.
And Jalen Smith got hurt in that game, which dropped his.
Right. That was probably the most significant thing that happened in that game. Jalen Smith was going to be a very high first round pick, and he basically he suffered one of the worst knee injuries I've ever heard of in that game. He tore everything. He almost lost it. He almost lost the bottom part of his leg. Like I heard there was like talk of amputation at that point. And then he a complete non-contact injury too. It was just kind of freakish. And then he was an incredible talent. Fort Wayne kid. Never know what he could have become, but yeah, that was significant. But now they're going to meet for the third consecutive season here.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah. How about that?
I can bet you Marcus Freeman has them thinking about that 2023 game.
Mm-hmm.
He's got them thinking about where they went wrong on that one. Because, I was hearing, I had like a question the other day. Who would have a better shot at beating Ohio State, Penn State, or Notre Dame? It's Notre Dame, in my opinion. Because, like, Penn State, they're just like Charlie Brown at the pitcher's mound anytime they play Ohio State.
Yeah, well, I provide my little brief rundown. I don't think Notre Dame matches up very well with them at all. But
No, but they could outsmart the Buckeyes. They can make better play
Quite possibly.
calls.
Quite possibly, they are coached by a Buckeye here.
Oh yeah.
Marcus Freeman from Huber Heights, Ohio, Wayne High School. He graduated with my cousin, so only raising smart over there.
If we were to see Notre Dame win it all, not only would it be the first time since 1988 that Notre Dame wins it all, but Marcus Freeman would be in a very small fraternity of third-year coaches who led Notre Dame to a national championship. Eric Parsegian, Lou Holtz, Frank Leahy, and Dan Devine.
God, could you imagine the Lou Holtz comments for Ryan Day?
I believe it's Leahy.
Leahy. I thought it was Leahy, but oh well. That's a weird ass.
Well,
That's a weird ass name.
No, it's just Irish.
We still
it's a great name for a Notre Dame coach because it's very, very Irish.
Yeah, but we still mispronounce Greg Schiano. It's Schiano.
Schiano.
Get it together. It's Schiano. It rhymes with piano.
Schiano.
Dude, it's
Schiano.
Schiano's wicked smart.
It is.
He's Italian. Italians never have that.
They did a segment on it during a game where they're like, "It's Greg Schiano," and I'm like, "Dude, I've been mispronouncing his name all these years."
No. That is.
Get your shit together, Sean. Get it together.
But
No. This is an Italian last name. Italians don't ever have that abrupt vowel sound.
See, she.
No.
But you know what's funny about
He can
Brian
call
Kelly?
himself whatever he wants. He's just mispronouncing his own last name. That's all I'm saying.
Oh yeah. So he's wrong about his own name. Okay,
yes.
Got it. Yeah. Sean's right. Greg is wrong.
Yeah.
About Greg's name, yes.
John. Has anybody thought about like Brian Kelly in this game? Like, think about this. He left Notre Dame because he wanted an easier chance to win a national championship. He hasn't even led LSU to an 11-win season or New Year's Six Bowl, let alone an easier shot at a national championship. And yet Marcus Freeman is doing a hell of a job in South Bend.
This has got to kill Brian Kelly. I mean, somewhere inside, he died a little bit watching this, knowing that he left that and going, "Wow."
Maybe he just needs to. Maybe he just needs to twerk in a few more videos here. Maybe that will change things.
Hold on. Let's see if we got him still. Do we still have him in here? Damn it! They took him out. Damn it! I don't want to change any of the settings because it'll screw up all the background stuff probably if I change folders.
Yep.
Yeah, it is funny to see that though. It's like, damn, third year, first time head coach. National. I mean, now granted, the format is now here, but yeah, LSU can't even make the playoff.
No, and I mean, especially now, you look at, you're going to have the offensive rookie of the year last year. They had the offensive rookie of the year at quarterback, and you're going to have like two guys that as rookies were Pro Bowl receivers. And you guys couldn't do better than 9-3.
Oh God.
Huh?
Oh God. Chat, kill me. Just kill me. Sean, welcome in your favorite guest.
My favorite guest.
Yep. Michigan man.
As we're trying to wrap up the goddamn show. And here we go. Now 20 minutes of Ohio State, Michigan banter. Go.
No, I'm not engaging with this, to be honest. I'll let Michigan man. I'll let him talk. But, you know, I'm not taking the bait here. Let's go.
How you doing, Michigan?
There's no bait to say. I've been saying for a couple weeks now, especially now. Ohio State's going to be the national champion. It is what it is. There's not much to it, really. You know what I'm saying? I'll make it quick about the game. I thought that was a great game. I thought it was two pretty evenly matched teams, at least that night, evenly matched teams. Ohio State made the winning plays. There's not much to say. I think Steve Sarkisian is a James Franklin 2.0 type of guy at this point. There's not much to really say.
Wow, wait, that was it?
What is there to say, man? Look,
there was no 13-10 comment or anything like that in there.
Well, look, man, I've been saying they're going to win the national championship. I've been also saying if they were going to win the national championship, and they were, it's Ohio State. Look, they weren't going to go forever without winning a natty. It's Ohio State. It's like Alabama's going to win one again. Georgia's going to win one again. A premier program, unless you're Oregon, no offense, probably, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? If you're a blue blood, you're gonna win it eventually. It's actually surprisingly, honestly, since 2014 that it took this long. If I'm being honest, but they're gonna win one. I wouldn't be surprised if they do a LeBron James after 2011. They go, hey, it took too damn long. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, very much to say. I think Steve Sarkisian is an absolute. That's the worst play calling I've ever seen inside the one, bar none. I've never seen worse play calling in my life.
So one question for
Well,
you.
it was just one play call, really, though, right? Outside of that, was there anything? They just kind of got owned at the line of scrimmage for a lot of this game.
That was equivalent to the Seahawks not running Marshawn Lynch and throwing the ball. That's the equivalent. You're literally on the 1 yard line.
It's very similar. I'm not going to lie. That was, especially on.
Yeah, you literally have 4 tries to get 1 yard, and it's 2nd and 1, and you pitch it 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage. That's Steve Sarkisian pissing down his leg and going, you know what? I ain't built for this shit.
Well, again, it's also the running back running 3 yards further back. That didn't help either. But yeah, it is.
By the way, it's just a dumb play.
Marshawn Lynch play. That's a good comparison. That is a good comparison.
It's a great comparison. You got 4. Here's the other part of it. If you go 4 times and you don't, let's just say you don't get it. Ohio State your defense has been playing great. It's been playing great. They get the ball literally back the hell up in the end zone. You're only down a touchdown. You got 2 timeouts and a 2-minute warning. You could probably get the ball back. Maybe even get a safety. Who knows? So it was just all around stupid.
No, I agree. But we talked about that earlier. I was like, hey, I think you'd prefer to have seen them literally just run it 4 times at the goal line, not get it.
I think they would have got it.
I would have preferred just line Gunnar Helm up under center and get a couple extra tight ends in the game.
I don't know why they didn't put Arch Manning in and just QB sneaked him. They could have done that. They could have Arch Manning QB sneaked him 4 times. They were literally on the 1 yard line.
Someone said they like actually like not necessarily for any reason necessarily they like benched him for whatever reason. I don't know. Maybe you need to Quinn it can specify that. Yeah, that's what I said. I was like, where's Arch in that situation? That's your package, so to say.
And let me say this: Ohio State does have the best goal line defense in the country, right? One thing you don't do when that's a strength is help them out. You don't help them out by calling dumb. It was just unbelievable. I thought defensively they pretty much used the Michigan defensive game plan. That was the closest I've seen anybody try to implement the Michigan defensive game plan. Disguising coverages, bracketing, really only rushing 4. And the one time that they decided not to use it was on that 3rd and 8 on that last touchdown drive for Ohio State, and they blitzed the house and it bit them in the ass. So, great game. Just overall great game. 2 evenly matched teams. The play of the game probably was the screen pass. I think honestly, if that screen pass don't happen, I think Texas had all the momentum. That screen pass kind of just leveled it out. But yeah, they're going to win the national championship, guys. I mean, it is what it is. I think Notre Dame has zero chance, absolutely zero chance. They don't have the offense to do anything, in my opinion. So
I hate to agree with you on this because God, it feels like famous last words. But like if I was objective, if I was not a fan, had no interest in this game, I would look at this and say like, how is Notre Dame going to score? Like it just seems.
And
Seems like too tall a task.
The hardest thing about that is that I've looked at that with Notre Dame and how they're going to score, and they just keep finding ways to do it. Though that's why it's been pretty impressive to watch it. And
yeah. But that's why I'm also saying like this is a team that probably shouldn't be in this game, but because of some fate and some circumstances, they got an incredibly favorable draw. They are facing a team with a backup quarterback, and then a team that famously doesn't win those kind of games.
I can't subscribe to. I've heard that some people say I can't subscribe to the whole. These teams shouldn't be here. All that. Look, man. At the end of the day, they won in advance. They won in advance. That's a playoff. You know what I'm saying? When you advance.
No, they did. They did, but this bracket was not balanced at all.
Well, it was one of this is one of the weakest college football seasons of all time, in my opinion, in terms of the field. I mean, when you look at Ohio State's the best of the bunch, but if you look at it as a whole, it's probably the weakest field we've had in I don't even know how long. If you're being
in 1 year,
yes. If you look top to bottom, conference to conference, it's by far the weakest that I can remember. Probably 2007 is the closest you could find.
2023.
2023 blows us out the water. It's not even close. That Georgia team beats probably the entire field this year. That Georgia team was absolutely elite. Alabama, people like to say, "Oh, the Alabama team was the worst Nick Saban Alabama team." Well, actually, if you look at it, they went 8-0 on the SEC. They beat an absolute elite Georgia team. Their one loss in the regular season was to a playoff Texas team, a Texas team that actually was, I would argue, better last year than this year in retrospect. That Washington team was better than almost every team this year. That Oregon team, I think, was on par with this year's Oregon team. I think defensively this year was slightly better, but I think offensively last year that Oregon team was better. So, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I just think top to bottom was just a weak field. The SEC is the worst it's been this century, not even since 2007, this century.
See, I don't think it's a weak field. I think what we're seeing is the NIL come into play, where now everyone's kind of a lot more similar than they have been in years past. I think that's kind of where it's going. Now more teams
I would agree with you if the two teams participating in the national championship wasn't one team that lost to Northern Illinois and the other one lost to a 5-loss Michigan team. I would agree with you if Alabama didn't lose to the likes of Vanderbilt and they get blown out by the likes of a mid-tier Oklahoma team. I would agree with you if we just we could go down top to bottom. Georgia,
Alabama doesn't have Nick Saban now, so I think that's kind of part of that scenario. There's a coaching.
100%. That's a factor. I agree 100%. That's a factor 100%. Even Georgia, though, this is the worst Georgia team since what? Since
probably the COVID year team.
I think that team might even be better. Honestly,
maybe Kirby's first year, maybe.
It might be, honestly. So, I mean, you guys think about it.
Georgia was 2019 team. They went 11-1 that year, but they were not that good. But,
yeah, I think who were the great teams this year off the top of your head? Oregon, I think, was pretty good. OSU is obviously the best team. They are the best team. They're the best team of this season, and they're a 2-loss team. and they lost to, frankly, a bad Michigan team. I mean, like, I don't think there's an argument that this isn't. But at the end of the day, look, they're going to be the champions. They are. You know, I can't say congrats because they're the op, but yeah, I mean, it is what it is.
And as the Michael here in the chat, hey, I said Notre Dame can score. They find ways to do it. So I don't think that.
Wait. I want to correct Michael here. Ohio State did shut out Purdue this year.
So did Oregon.
They shut out Purdue and Western Michigan. They have 2 shutouts this year.
Like Oregon shut out Purdue on the road. So yeah, I mean Purdue is easy.
Yeah. So
I don't even think. Look, this OSU team's going to win the title. I don't even think this is the best Ryan Day OSU team, and they're going to win the title.
No, I think the 2019 team was probably a touch better than this team.
I think
they had a better season. What?
I even think 2022 and 2020 is better.
No. This defense is so much more solid than those were. Wait, you said the 23 team?
That defense is
the 22, not 23. If you look at 22, right? Their 2 losses were towards one of the best teams I've ever seen in Georgia that year, and they lost by a point. And their other loss was towards an elite Michigan team, and that OSU, the defense wasn't as good as this year, but it was still pretty damn good. And that offense was the best offense Ryan Day's had.
Yeah, I think you're saying the same thing. It's like last year Oregon team, last year's Ohio State offense, or last year Ohio State had some issues offensively with McCord. I think they just didn't trust him. But before that, with Stroud, that offense was dynamic. Oregon's offense last year.
Oh, that offense
this year,
scariest offense.
This year, not as good. You get those ebbs and flows of dynamics in the teams. Oh God, do we want to open this dumpster fire?
What dumpster fire?
I think
I'm going to go to the
NFL. It's not a matter of if, but when.
Yeah, I was like,
isn't owner ever going to pull the trigger on bringing Dion in?
Yes.
You think so? You really do?
There's always somebody that wants Coach Prime as their head coach. There's somebody that's got big enough balls to hire him.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry. I already told Colorado fans this year. I was like, dude, if he has a successful season, which overall they did, when Travis and when his kids leave, Shador and Shiloh, and then Travis especially leaves, he's gonna be gone probably. Now I know he said he's coming back. Don't be shocked in like 2 weeks if you hear, hey, Deion Sanders is the head coach of whatever team.
Jacksonville Jaguars.
Maybe.
Well, I mean, like it would make sense for a team like that, small market.
Yeah.
Just
I will say, I think one thing I do want to say is rivalry games going forward are really not going to mean that much at all.
Yeah.
They're going to mean something to people that grew up with it, but in the grand scheme, they're really not going to mean that much. Think about it. You could lose your rivalry game. You're still going to be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
You're still going to have a chance to play for a championship. It's like in the NFL. NFL has rivalries, right? Do they really mean that much?
Yeah. I mean, you're always going to have rivalries. I have to address Moose here, though. I'm sorry. He said
Deion to Oakland. Is there a team in Oakland?
Hey Moose, I don't know. Are you trying to say JJ McCarthy's going to replace Herbert? Is that what you're trying to say?
I was like, I'm sorry. You have Justin Herbert. The Chargers are.
I will say though, Herbert looked bad today. I got to say that
they charged.
He did not look good.
Yeah.
If you don't see the Chargers get a Super Bowl under Harbaugh, it's not Harbaugh's fault. That I can guarantee.
Yeah.
It's that dumbass.
It's never Harbaugh's fault. What are you talking about?
There's no way that.
Yeah, but in this case,
JJ McCarthy and replacing Justin Herbert. I'm sorry.
guys, I know they lost today, but this year was actually. I mean, there's different standards for the NFL, right? I mean, you don't win every game. It's not about winning every game in the NFL. It was actually impressive what Harbaugh did. I mean, he took pretty much the same roster that won 5 games last year, and he improved them by six games.
No, Herbert missed almost half that season last year. Herbert missed like
that team was trash though, bro.
But it's
I mean,
they weren't good.
I mean, you're talking about a 2-time
for half the season. I mean, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, but still, I mean, it's he does this everywhere he goes. I mean, I can't think of another coach. I can't think of another coach. Everywhere he goes, year one, it's automatic huge improvement. I can't think of one.
I don't even follow the NFL that much. I don't watch it because I'll jinx teams, so I just don't do it. But yeah, I mean, still, it's a huge improvement from what they were last year, obviously with the injuries, but they're a few pieces away, and they can make a nice run, I think.
Well, college football is pretty much the mini NFL now. You know, it feels like that's what it feels like.
Yeah,
it literally feels like a mini NFL now.
As to rivalries, I think rivalries, kind of like Jason O says here, is like, you know, NFL rivalries mean a lot locally, not nationally, because, you know, you're not invested as a national. Like me watching Michigan, Ohio State, great, it's a good game. Do I care about the fighting on the field and getting maced? No, it's funny to me, but it doesn't mean anything to me. But me playing Oregon State or Washington means a ton more because it's a personal, regional, local, historical thing. So I think the key rivalries will still mean a lot.
Yeah, but here's the difference, right? So before you played them one time, like most likely you're going to play them one time. The game's going to have a lot of weight to it, a lot of implications. Now there's a good chance you could play them 2, 3, maybe even 3 times. You could play them obviously at the end of the year. Let's say they both are the best teams in their conference. You'd match up again the next week in the conference championship. And then because it's a 12-team playoff, depending on how you advance and where you're at, you'll play them again. So it doesn't have the same weight at all. For example, if Michigan pulled out 2 more wins this year, there's a chance they could have made the playoffs and then played Ohio State again. Like that could have happened. So it's just not the same.
I would invite you at any moment to head over to Manchester, UK for a Man City, Man U matchup.
Talking about soccer?
Come on.
But no. Like the level of rowdiness around that rivalry dwarfs anything that you get in American sports.
Yeah.
And here's what I'm saying. They play each other 4 or 5 times a year.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know nothing about soccer, but here's
what I mean, it's like nothing's diminished there.
Yeah. But Michigan won the last true rivalry game of consequence. That's what I got to say with that.
Well, I don't know. I do. Maybe Jackson is the outsider now because now I'm a Big Ten insider apparently. Jackson, looking from the outside, do you think that? And I know Trojan USC fan is in here in the house. Trojan fight, talking smack. You know, hey, when you compete for a title, let us know anything. Okay, thank you, USC. I think it's Oregon Ohio State is actually not. I'm not calling it a rivalry, but it's a nice, natural, just back and forth because Oregon had been 0-9, then they were 2-0.
Kind of like where Florida and Tennessee was quite a battle in the 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's a rivalry, but it's a nice building kind of tension between the two teams. You know, kind of.
I just thought of some. Is this the first offseason we're going to go into? And this is how I feel. Where I don't think there really is a for sure title favorite.
That's a good point.
Who would be the presumptive favorite?
What is it? People are putting out the way too early top 20 or top 10 for next year, and they have most of them.
They usually do that like 5 minutes after the national championship,
and they're already doing it. And they have, I think it's like Texas, Oregon, Ohio State, and a couple other teams. I can't remember the list. I didn't.
Yeah, I
let me tell you something. If Ohio State's near the top of that list, then next year is not looking good for college football because this is a
they lose everybody. I don't know.
Yeah, this is a rebuilding year for Ohio State next year.
That's what I'm saying. Though. I don't think there's a team you go, they're going to win the title. Like you just that doesn't. I have no idea who's going to win the title next year at all. I don't.
Yeah,
that's the first time I can remember in a long time.
This is correct. I think this next year is going to just be.
Agreed.
It really will be like this previous offseason. Everyone picked Ohio State to win it because they were clearly the title favorite. They brought everybody back. Georgia, but everybody really felt it was Ohio State. They brought pretty much everybody.
Georgia was like almost a unanimous pick for number one in the preseason poll this year. No,
I don't know.
It's Georgia, Ohio State, Texas, and Oregon. Were like, if one of them
things I saw, it was Ohio State to win the title, and I don't blame them. Again, they brought everybody back.
Hardly got any first place.
They added Will Howard. They added a second star running back. They added Jeremiah Smith, probably the greatest receiver recruit of all time. Honestly, I don't know. That's just how I felt in the offseason. That most people felt Ohio State was the clear favorite. The year before that, it was Michigan. The year before that was clearly Georgia. The year before that was Georgia. The year before that was Bama. I mean, we could go all the way back, but I mean, yeah.
I think one of the other big things is that when you have to look at as a whole, like this year, for instance, you don't have the traditional leagues like you did before. So now you have these super leagues where one team, shout out, no offense, love Indiana, love Cincinnati, they just run through their shit for the most part because they don't play anyone. Where Oregon has to go through these top teams. Now, next year, Oregon doesn't have to play Michigan or Ohio State. You know, like you have this varying schedule format, which allows this team to come up and run the table because of their schedule, even though they're in a league. So there's a lot of different dynamics to it.
Yeah, facts.
Winked. All right. God damn, Dave. Dropping dimes today.
No, absolutely. In Glasgow, he's talking about their Celtic and Rangers.
So
yeah, that has a whole like religious aspect to it too. So I mean, yeah.
Yeah, the soccer fans are football, soccer. They are some wild. Fans. I mean, they are some very wild.
Yeah. No, but man, you and Man City, like that's a dividing line. That's a family separator there.
Yeah,
that's true. You think about
but yeah, man. You guys have score predictions yet for the Natty?
I'm going to get mine next week. So
yeah, I'm gonna deep dive into some film this week, and like I want to try to make it the best because I know Michael is still here in the chat, and Dave, thank you very much for super chatting too. I'm gonna give you a shout out as usual at the end of the show, but Michael is here in the chat. Shouting out the Notre Dame. And I think Notre Dame's going to score. They find a way to do it. I'm not saying they can't do it. So I don't want you to come at me.
35-13 Ohio State.
There's no way that is the score. Absolutely no way. This is going to be a rock fight. This is going to be a rock fight between two.
I really don't think so. I think it's a terrible matchup for Notre Dame. I really do. It feels like one of those games where it could go two ways, in my opinion. Both and Ohio State winning. Notre Dame puts up a defensive fight for like a quarter or two, and Ohio State pulls away by a couple touchdowns. Or Ohio State gets hot, right? Which I think could happen in this game, and it's just a blowout. It's literally the only way I see it. I just don't think Notre Dame has the offense to go against the defense. I just don't see it.
It's tough.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing. Notre Dame has gotten to the championship game, and we're still completely unimpressed with their offense. What they've done.
That's what I'm trying to say. Is like, hey,
Yeah.
they have found every way they need to win games, whether offensively, defensively, whatever it is. They have found a way. So that's why I'm like, hey, I am not discounting.
You're not one of the Shamrock Brigades that is gonna.
Oh, and by the
I'm
way, I would
superstitious
prefer
here, right? Like, luck no luck of the Irish here, are you?
I have no, fight in this game, so to say. I don't see. I get the idea that it could be like literally a massacre, a blowout for Ohio State, or it's going to be a rock fight. But I'm not discounting anything Notre Dame has done because they've come to the playoff, they've played the teams, and they found ways to win. That's all that they have to do is find ways.
Oh yeah, for sure. And my mindset is, I mean, this is how I feel about it. Like, I'd of course rather Ohio State not win it, but if they're gonna win one, I prefer it be this year because I'd rather them win one in a year they didn't beat us one, and after we just won it, so it just doesn't feel bad at all. If they won it in a year where we didn't just win a title and they beat us, then I'm like, oh fuck, you gotta be kidding me. So it's kind of like not really a lose-lose. It's more like, yeah, I prefer them not to win, of course, but realistically, they're going to win one eventually. So if they're going to win one eventually, I prefer it being in this circumstance.
Yeah, Moose has a comment here that I imagine reflects the way a lot of Michigan fans feel. You got that, Jackson?
Yeah. They're not pretty happy about Notre Dame, Ohio State playing each other.
Yeah, I
Two
can't
rivals.
imagine.
But at the end of the day, Ohio State's our arch rival. You got rivals, and you got your one arch rival. So if you had a choice, obviously it's Notre Dame. But even that's like even weird to say. It's like it was like a bad aftertaste.
Well, I can tell you right now, I kind of want to see Notre Dame win it all because number one, for our buddy Will. Secondly,
Yeah, I
I
like
could
Marcus
see-
Freeman.
Hey, wait. There's someone on the panel, Jackson, here.
I know.
Who's a vested interest in this? Come on.
I know.
God, I see where I stand now. Jesus.
Well, I want to see Marcus
I
Freeman.
appreciate the savage disrespect, though. I'm really.
I don't
Well,
mean it.
Jackson, let me ask you: I think Marcus Freeman is. I just can't. I don't want to like him, but I just can't help but like him. It's weird.
All right.
I don't want to like him because he's Notre Dame's head coach, but every time I see him do a press conference or something, I just can't help but like the guy.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
that's a Dayton, Ohio niceness right there.
Well, it's the opposite of Ryan Day. Like I watch Ryan Day, I'm like,
we have charmed the pants off.
I want
you
to
guys.
grow up. Like I see Ryan Day speak, I literally got to regurgitate in my mouth. Like it's something about Ryan Day, it's just gross. I got to take a shower. I don't know what it is.
Well, I'll just tell you right now, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I hope that Notre Dame and Ohio State are talking in the back room about planning another home and home series. That would be pretty cool. And while Notre Dame's at it, I want to see if the Notre Dame Michigan series will come back as early as the late 2020s. Or better
I
yet,
hope it does come back, man.
I think it will because there's just too much money invested, honestly. There's just too much money. I mean, you really think NBC wants to have the Peacock app having Notre Dame, Virginia, or Notre Dame, Wake Forest?
I can tell you why it won it, though, Jackson. I can tell you why I want it to happen, though. Because if there's one thing that this playoffs has taught us, there is absolutely zero benefit to scheduling a tough out-of-conference opponent anymore. There's zero benefit at all. So, and you make extra money in the playoffs for the extra games anyways. So even the money incentive really ain't there. Because if I can make my schedule easier and get into the playoffs in advance, I'm making money that way. So, and I might even see Notre. And here's the other thing: I might even see Notre Dame in the playoffs. I might even see him in the playoffs. So there is absolutely zero incentive to schedule Notre Dame out of conference. Zero.
Yeah, no, you're definitely right there. Yeah,
Like,
I mean, Notre Dame loses to Northern Illinois and plays as the easiest conference schedule basically in the Power Four.
And they're in the Natty.
But not only that, not only in the Natty, they were the number 7 seed. They weren't even penalized basically in any way. You know?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. That's it.
Yeah,
That's exactly what I mean. Look, and
Right.
you know what's funny is there's some similarities between last year's Michigan schedule and Ohio State's this year, out of conference wise. Yeah. It's pretty much the same. The difference is here's the difference.
Marshall was better than any of the teams Michigan played last year, but
there's still. I mean, it's still bad. It's still bad though. I mean, we're talking we're no Power 5 or no Power 4 competition at all. We're talking
right. Mm-hmm.
We're talking teams that you should easily beat, no challenge whatsoever. So, but the point is, last year Michigan they can't afford losses, especially 2, right? Even with an easy schedule. Ohio State this year, they have 2 losses, and that easy schedule didn't penalize them at all, even with 2 losses. So it's like there's no incentive at all to schedule a tough out of conference opponent at all.
And they probably wouldn't have benefited even if they played if they had a win in the non-conference over say a Louisville or something. Say that Marshall win, you replace that with Louisville. It probably doesn't change anything, But it's a game you expose yourself to some risk too.
I do think Texas is gonna get that get back next year though.
Next year, week 1.
Yeah, is that the week they play?
Yep, absolutely. It very well could happen. I mean, it is in Columbus, but we'll see who replaces the key pieces better because they're both going to have very, very different teams than they had this week against each other.
Oh, here's another thing, and then I gotta get out of here. I think a lot of the national championship champions you're going to see winning national champions are older teams from now on. Yeah. Teams that retain their older players through NIL. If you look at Michigan, they were a very veteran old team. Ohio State is a very veteran old team, and they did that through NIL and keeping their players. If you're going to see that going forward, teams that can bring everybody back, they got a great chance to win because when you've been playing together for 4 years and you got that experience and it also adds depth, you're going to see a lot of champions like that.
So, see, I think it's going to be rare you have classes like Michigan's last year and Ohio State's this year. I don't think those come along very often.
But when they do, I might start putting. If I see a team that was good the year before and then retains all their pieces, because that creates so much depth when you do in this era.
Absolutely.
Depth is insane. I'm putting all my shit on that team to win the check, man.
Right. No, absolutely. That's always been true. So I mean, if you've got if you have a team full of guys that are, are going to play in the NFL, but maybe aren't the elite high level prospects, and they manage to retain all those guys and they come back. Because there's a big difference between a 22 or 23-year-old body and an 18, 19-year-old body. So if you've got a lot of guys that have played a lot together, I just don't think that's going to happen a whole lot in the future going forward. I mean, there's going to be so much roster turnover from year to year. I mean, we're at the very beginning age of this transfer portal NIL era. It has,
That's the point.
I mean,
It's new still, and
Yeah.
it's gonna kind of work itself out. Plus, with any potential regulation and stuff like that, or capping, or whatever you want to call it, or look at it as.
Mhm.
But we're at a new stage where that's why I think you saw this year's there was no top tier teams, is because everything's a little bit more balanced in a way across the board for teams that actually want to invest in their in their teams. I cannot find my glasses. My eyes are killing me. Reading this chat, and I've not been able to find where they went. I don't know where they are. It's killing me. Oh man.
All right. We ready to wrap this up?
You're goddamn right. I'm ready to wrap this bitch up.
Hey, man, Sean's going to be going to bed early for the next 10 days or 8 days, man. He's going to make sure he gets to bed early. He's going to try to wake up late, shorten them days so he can get to the 20th. And so he could. How old are you, Sean?
I'm in my 30s, 36. 36 here.
Okay, so you was like mid-20s on during that last one, pretty much mid-20s.
Yeah, I was 20. Well, I mean that was 10 years ago, so I was 26. Yeah, at that point.
Okay, yeah. So you gonna be 26 all over again, my guy.
Shit, I'm gonna be 26, and I'm gonna be 14 again.
And then Ben. Oh wait, you don't know what that feels like. Never mind, my bad. Jackson.
Wow.
Jackson, you know what that feels like.
Wow. I'm not going to take that blasphemy. Absolutely not. No, okay.
You were saying
I had to slide it in there. I just had to.
I don't think he even realized I removed him from the stream.
Oh, I do. Oh, yeah. I don't blame you. I don't blame you. You know what I'm saying? You removed me like Ohio State just removed you from the playoffs.
Out. What? Oh, okay. Goodbye, Michigan, man. No.
All right. Well, let's wrap this bitch up.
All right. And then the true kings of the
I'm
North.
about to fall asleep here.
The true kings of the North shall die return next year. Y'all had your little reprieve, okay? We coming back with vengeance.
I want to enjoy January.
We'll be doing.
Oh, I know you will.
We'll do a schedule.
My best friend. So my best friend is a Buckeye, right? And I'm gonna be watching the Natty with him. So just put it in perspective.
We'll do a 2025 season breakdown, like per conference, on a few shows coming up as we look ahead in the coming weeks. But we have to wait for the title game, and next week we have to do a deep dive into this game because.
Well, I think the Big 12 schedule announcement won't be out until like the next few days or like the next week and a half, 2 weeks.
Exactly.
And the ACC will come afterwards as well.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be during the offseason before spring game. The spring ball. We'll get into some of those details and kind of take a look ahead at some of that because it'll be fun. It's going to be interesting. The schedule is going to be totally different next year, obviously, compared to this year. You're not going to see the same teams a lot. I mean, we get to go to Rutgers. Yay! Shout out Adam. Are you
going to make that? Are you going to make the trip out there, Ben?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. That was the last.
Ben, have you ever been to New York?
Crazy travel for the team.
I have been to Jersey, yes, multiple times.
But have you been to New York?
To New York?
Yeah,
no, just on a layover. I've never. No, we did drive to New York. They sent me a bill for missing a toll, and it was like $150.
New York City?
Yes. Yeah.
Did you pay it?
Yeah, and then Massachusetts sent me one, and I missed a toll. Massachusetts sent me one. It was $20. I'm like, well, you can have your money, Massachusetts. That's fine. New York, talk about a screw job.
I have a question. Why did you pay it if you're never going to go back there?
That's a fair question. I guess I just didn't want to.
Hey, that's like when you get photo radar.
Yeah,
if you get a photo radar ticket. If you get a photo radar ticket, if they don't personally serve you, within 90 days, they have to what's it called? They have to vacate it.
Yeah.
This was within about 50 days. It was a pretty quick. I was like, let's see the photo. There's my car. I'm like, and the license plate clear day. I'm like, damn it. Oh well, here you go, bastards.
Yeah. I've had to go through that a few times. I've had to I've had to make sure I've had to sue people on a few different occasions and had to make sure they personally got served. So
New York will screw you.
I had to make sure the court called me and provided me with the name of the agent that was that they contracted out to serve.
Yeah, it was stupid. We went through that as quick as possible. We're like, New York, oh God, and New Jersey, oh God, just as bad, just off. Chicago, everything's a damn toll. Everything. Screw that place too.
But I drive through there all the time. I actually had to. I got an iPass there. So I have something in my windshield now that just deduct. I have an account and it just deducts money from it every time I go through. So I just load it up with like $15 every time I'm going to visit my brother in Milwaukee, and I just go. Yeah,
that's fair. I mean, that's like Texas. We have tolls here and stuff. So, but you get the kind of statewide toll pass sticker.
Yeah,
you can use that in Oklahoma and Arkansas and stuff like that, and it's fine. You just roll through and it just deducts automatically from them, and it's easy.
Yeah,
so cool, no problem.
But I will say the roads, 94 in Illinois, 294. Those roads are pristine all the time. Like the roads in Michigan, we don't have tolls here, and the roads here are just. I mean, you might as well be in Baghdad here. The way
that's a comparison. I've been there. That's a comparison.
But you've been to Baghdad, but have you been to Grand Rapids?
No, I have not been to Grand Rapids. We were going to on that trip. We made it to Chicago, and then we turned around because we're like, yeah, nah, we're good. Like with all the tolls, we're like, we're already getting screwed. So
no, if you made it into Michigan, you would see the difference in the maintenance in the highways system. It's very stark.
Well,
yeah,
I'd expect that in Detroit. That's for sure. Shout out Detroit.
Well, final thoughts.
Yeah, that's what I was literally.
My final thought is Jackson would never make it in Detroit ever.
Why is that?
You just wouldn't. You're not made for Detroit, Jackson.
All I gotta do is put on a bunch of lawn sleeves and boom.
Okay.
And I just get somebody that knows how the state of Michigan works. Boom. Problem solved. I'd figure it out.
I will be your Detroit Sherpa here, Jackson.
God. Oh God. Yeah. Final thoughts though. Next week again we will be actually really deep dive preview of Ohio State Notre Dame for the national title. This week was a little preview, but next week will be. That's it. That will be the sole focus outside of whatever other random weird news that comes out of this crazy thing called college football.
Yeah.
Wait. Hold on. I lived in the Metro Detroit area for about 8 years. I can handle myself there.
Yeah, Detroit was on our road trip list, but again, after Chicago, we turned around and went back to North Dakota. Detroit was on the list though.
Shit.
That's funny in it to Quinn it. That's funny.
Well, wait, what is in it to Quinn have to say?
It's like I don't know if I'd run Flint.
Oh,
Man.
Flint.
Yeah.
It's like,
Does Jackson know what Flint is?
yeah, it's in Michigan.
Yeah.
Exactly. Long sleeves, like.
Honestly,
Oh God. All right, yeah. So next week we will do a deeper dive into the title game, and but as for tonight, yeah. Final thoughts, quickly, guys.
well, I'm looking forward to seeing what Ohio State Notre Dame brings out. And Texas, well, they come up short yet again. What is 2025 going to look like for them? As for Penn State, another big game, another big loss. 2025 looks easier for them. Are they going to have more of the same, or will there be something bigger? Stay tuned for more on the Nitty Lines.
Yep. Final thoughts. I'll have more thoughts on the game next week when we're closer to it. And other than that, just a pleasure hanging out with everyone. Jackson can drop my links below. Give a follow if you care. If not, I'll be here next week and every Sunday through the off season as well. So always a pleasure, people. Fun hanging out.
Damn right for all 3 hours tonight. Yeah, the off season we will look at that.
Remember when people were like amazed when we did these fun things for like an hour and a half, 2 hours, maybe?
My goal is always like 2 hours, and then it turns into like 3 to 4 hours. So I'm like,
yeah.
Ben, what have you got cooking on Oregon at the Voice College Football and on Exploring with Ben and Sam?
That's right. We will explore it. Sam's kind of on a hiatus right now during editing here on YouTube, but please go over there and follow us here on YouTube. And the Oregon show, Spaz not here tonight, but Oregon show, we will be doing some season reviews, season projections, and waiting for spring ball. And just looking forward to the season. Didn't end the way we wanted to, obviously, but hey, good year still. Good year. I mean, a lot of teams would kill to be in the place that Oregon is at, you know.
Oh, yeah.
So, not going to complain. Can't complain. Got to move on to the next year. Other than that, then, gentlemen, everyone in the chat, as always, the chat is what makes it. You guys have been ridiculous tonight. Shout out Manta Teo's girlfriend. Shout out Dave Valensky. All the super chats. It helps channel a lot. And Adam from the Rutgers channel, the Rutgers show here. Yes. Other than that, then next week, deep dive, national title game, January 20th. Let's fucking go.
There we go.
There's three if you're counting. I think that's acceptable. Other than that, Sean,
3 is that the number of? Oh, go ahead.
No, 3 is acceptable. 3 is acceptable. Yeah. I think that's a reasonable amount over 3 hours. That's 1 per hour. That's not bad.
That's more restraint than I would have.
Exactly. That is not bad.
Yeah.
I think Mark would give that the seal of approval. I haven't got any.
Are you about to give me the pleasures here, bud?
It's your week. I mean, neither of us are in the playoffs, so it is your week. Yeah. You give us the magic words, but again, thank you everyone in the chat. Dave Valinsky, the super chats, and check us out next Sunday night as we deep dive the national title game. Sean, magic lines.
There we go.
Pop-Tart, play us out. But play us out smooth here. Let's go. Really even stroked here. All right.
I can't wait for the new gifts. We got to find the new ones with like 3
of
them
man.
Out.
Oh, yeah. Well, there was one with like the stalker Pop-Tart. Did you see that one?
Ooh. I want to find the one.
Yeah, it was like it looked like it was before a kickoff right there, but the Pop Tart was hanging out about like 2 feet behind it, doing the giving it the old 1,000-yard stare.
We need the resurrected Pop Tart.
There we go.
He came back. He sacrificed so much.
So what kind